You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 2nd meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening and welcome to the Michigan City Common Council meeting. Today is December 2nd, 2025. I would first like to ask if everyone would please silence all electronic devices and please join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of prayer.
And to the republic one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, on roll call, please.
Mr. Beatrice?
Present.
Mr. Coulter?
Present.
Mr. Dabney?
Present.
Dr. Cora?
Present.
Ms. Lee? Present. Ms. Moldenauer?
Present.
Mr. Nelson?
Present.
Mr. Przybylski?
Present.
And Ms. Tillman?
Present.
We have 9 present and no one absent.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Moving forward to our agenda. Approval of minutes, regular council hybrid Zoom, November 18th, 2025, executive session, November 13th, 2025. Have all council members had the opportunity to review the minutes from November 18th and the executive session, November 13th, 2025?
Yeah, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
I have a motion. May I entertain a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Moldenauer, and a motion was by Councilman Przybylski. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee? Aye. Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Przybylski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
I need to abstain. I wasn't present.
Abstain? And Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
We have 8 in favor and 1 is abstained.
And those minutes have been approved. Reports of standing committees, the Finance Committee meeting. The Finance Committee did meet on today, December 2nd, 2025. We did have a quorum. The City of Michigan City Riverboat Boyd claims docket for December 2nd, 2025 read as Riverboat Fund 2235, $7,053.93. Riverboat EFT Fund 2235, $0. Rainy Day Fund 2236, $4,200. Boyd Development Fund 2504, $0. Those claims are for the LaPorte Chrysler Inc. and the amount of $7,053.93. And for Aqualab Water Treatment Inc. for $4,200. The total claims is for $11,253.93. May I entertain a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
We have a motion by Councilman Dabney and a second by Mr. Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee? Aye. Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Przybylski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
And Mr. Dabney?
And the claims for December 2nd, 2025 has been approved. The City of Michigan City 2025 Riverboat Rainy Day Fund Statement of Cash Position fiscal year to date, December 31st, 2025. Fund type 2235, Riverboat Fund, ending balance $4,986,953.74. Fund type 2236, Rainy Day Fund, ending balance $1,430,137.92. The grand total ending balance is $6,417,091.66. And that is all that we have in regards to the finances. Next on our agenda, reports from boards and commissions. Are there any reports from boards and commissions?
Where I read this one, you read it.
Councilman Dabney?
Yes, I want to do a little bit of an update from labor relations. And some of this information you've heard before, but I don't think it would hurt for some of the public to hear it again. All right. Regarding city budgets and labor contract negotiations, there have been significant changes due to funding decreases from the state, riverboat, and public safety lit or local income taxes, while dealing with increased operational costs like city employee insurance, salaries, and equipment costs. We will see significant decreases in property tax funds from the state due to property tax caps, and again, from Lost Riverboat funds. For example, at one point, we received as much as $20 million from the riverboat, and now we're seeing amounts as low as $8 to $9 million. In the past, we've been able to cover shortages by increasing the amount of the yearly riverboat transfer into the proper accounts to balance the budget. But now the decreasing amounts of riverboat funds, with the decreasing amount of riverboat funds, we are unable to do this. Public safety lit, just so everybody understands what that is. A couple years back, the county passed a 0.5% increase in the local income tax for the county. Those funds were used to increase the salaries of both our fire and police departments to meet and even exceed other municipalities' pay to their police and fire departments. When LIT was dispersed, we received approximately $4.2 million to pay for those salary increases. When the salaries were increased, that also increased retirement pay and longevity pay due to things being calculated used a higher base salary. Now, without the city being aware, when the LIT was originally passed, the state has sunset those LIT funds. Basically, they took those away. And we will lose that $4.2 million used to fund those raises. The city is now left to make up those $4.2 million. But even if the city does its own local income tax passage, we will not be able to make up that full amount because that was passed using the whole county's income tax rather than just income taxes for Michigan City, which is what we will be using when we do it. We have to somehow account for these cost increases and funding decreases. For this year's budget, the mayor has passed a 2% raise for all city employees. And after the budget was submitted, there was only a $22,000 difference with revenue and expenses between the two. With that scenario, all dollar increases would need to be offset by cuts in other parts of police and fire budgets in order to make that work. This year has been one of the first real negotiations in my 10 years as a council member, meaning each side has been asked to give up something to get something in return. This give and take is being forced on us due to losses in certain funding and huge increases in the cost of things like insurance, proposed increases in salaries and equipment to run the city. The negotiations themselves. Since labor negotiations are done in public hearings, I can supply this information to the public. In this year's negotiation, the city stated it can afford a 2% raise in conjunction with some concessions from fire and police. The city has asked for things in return, like making a full-time spouse of a fire employee or a police employee use their employee insurance first, and then use the city insurance as secondary. That was initially turned down by the unions, but then the mayor conceded and decided to eliminate that ask from the city. There are other language changes to consider in the contracts, but the biggest sticking point so far has been where the city is asking for retired police or fire. The city is asking for retired police and fire to pay a 50-50 split of the cost of their retired insurance. To make it easy, think of retired insurance like COBRA that you would pay if you left your job in order to continue on to your ex-employer's insurance plan. Usually, an employee who leaves a job is responsible for all of their COBRA insurance payments. But as of now, the city is paying 2/3 of that cost, and the former city employee pays 1/3 of that cost. And the city is asking to go to a 50-50 split. And that was turned down. For the public's sake, since 2020, through the current budget we're working with now, the police and fire wages have made some much needed increases. There have been increases that this council and previous councils have approved unanimously. Going back to 2021, going into 2022, police received an average raise of over 11.33%. Fire received an average raise of 14.24%. In 22 to 23, the average increase in salary, 6.74% for police and 2% for fire. In 23 to 24, the average increase in the salary of our police, 13.42%, and for the fire, 13.26%. 24 to 25 was the year that when we just were up in the air with what was going on, and they had 0% raises at that time. And then for 25 to 26, as stated at the very beginning, the mayor has offered a 2% raise for all employees of Michigan City, including police, fire, and every single worker in the city. We as a committee stated that when we met and gave our last proposal to the unions, that it was a take it or leave it deal. At this current time, all the terms, both ways, for what they were asking of us and what we were asking of them were not accepted. So currently, each department will revert back to their contracts of last year. This negotiation is not over. I wanted to stress that we can still work on this. We can continue to negotiate terms, but as of now, this is where we stand. I did not write this to pick a fight with our police or fire departments. I have always told them when I've been on this committee that I will try to give them as much as possible without sacrificing the city budget and other departments' budgets. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, like losing the lit and so forth, regarding funding and increased costs with the high charges and costs and changes of insurance, this is where we stand as of now. So with that being said, just to explain what could possibly happen. Between this meeting and our second reading, there can still be some things that can happen in terms of things that could be awarded. The mayor has come up with some things that she's talked to the unions about that may get worked into these contracts. I won't announce them for now because they're not out there as currently stated. But there are some things that could be worked out as we move forward. And then if that does happen, what we'll do is vote to amend in the second reading, and then we'll move to third reading and we'll be able to pass the budget as it is set, or pass the contracts or approve the contract, as they are set. So this is where we stand today. This is not over. I was told to stress that by one of our other city employees. I won't identify that name, but this is where we stand today, and we're still continuing to move forward. So that's where we are.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. Are there any other reports from boards and commissions at this time?
Madam President?
Councilman Przybylinski?
Yeah, not necessarily a report, but from the Human Rights Commission, they plan on having a holiday fundraiser, and that's going to take place next Wednesday at Fiddleheads downtown. It's going to be a holiday paint and sip fundraiser, and that'll take place next Wednesday night, starting at 5 o'clock. and it's $35 per person that wants to come. And you can bring the entire family. Children are welcome. And this funding, this money goes to the Human Rights Commission. From there, it goes into scholarships that are given away during Black History Month, and they support other things throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other boards and commissions at this time? If there are none, moving on to reports of special or select committees. Reports of special or select committees. Any reports of special or select committees? There are none. Moving on to the agenda, reports from the mayor or other city officers and departments. We have a presentation.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a presentation, Michigan City Department of Water Works bonding plan with Christopher Johnson, Superintendent.
Thank you, Council. Appreciate you having me here tonight. This is, I didn't realize how much time we had the workshop prior to this meeting, and realized that I can talk a long time. So I'll try and keep this as brief as I possibly can and cover the important pieces. The reason why I'm before the council tonight is the Waterworks Board of Directors has reviewed and discussed our future financially as a department. We are currently we spent some time developing a capital improvement plan. Our board did approve that back in February of 2024. We also made sure that we covered the next 20 years in that plan as well as we could. But we do have some projects that are more urgent, and so we'll be focusing heavily on those in this process. All these projects are a combination of our treatment facilities, our distribution facilities as well, throughout our system. It's not one particular area. And going forward, back in February of 24, we did meet in an executive session with the council. At that time, we were presenting a litigation plan because we were planning to request of the city council a bond ordinance. That had been the previous practice in the 2015 rate case, which was the last time we looked at our rates. And so we were looking at doing that. So we went ahead and sent an initial notice to the IURC back in February of 2024 to let them know that we were looking at doing this. In that original plan, Baker Tilly was going to provide a rate study. Bose McKinney and Evans, there are attorneys, and they were preparing all the litigation paperwork, et cetera, for the rate case. And then the board would approve those financial rates and plans. And basically, we have some large projects that we are looking at covering the cost of through bonding, and that brought up the bond ordinance that we were discussing. At that time, you're looking at the city council approving that bond ordinance. Moving forward, we looked at things, and it's a little different now, and I'll get to that slide. It's at the end. So, what are we looking at doing now? We're looking at putting together, and we have put together, and we're preparing to file a rate adjustment. Our last rate adjustment was in 2015. We are looking at it. Large part of this is inflationary. We do have significant increases. Inflation's gone up 37% across all those years. And the last few years were extremely high, as everybody knows. The inflation that we see at home is the same inflation that we see at the utility. We're basically at a point now where that inflationary expense growth has exceeded our ability to offset it with our growth in number of customers. We've been able to hold off for a long time. That's why it's 10 years. But we're getting to a point where you can't start taking money from the savings account for too long. You have to put money back in that savings account for those bigger projects. Plus, we had all those projects that we identified in that comprehensive plan that we need to address. Going forward, this is just some details of how that inflation has impacted us. Our labor and wages and our benefits, of course, those have gone up. We had to make sure that we're competitive with other utilities and with other industries, the construction industry, the steel mills, those types of places. So we want to keep good quality employees that we have trained. We don't want to lose those people. Additional to that, our revenues have gone up a little bit. They've gone up 9%. That's a good thing. Piece that I'm kind of proud of when I look at the math is our operating expenses from 2015 through 2025 have only gone up 17%, even though inflation has gone up 37%. So we've worked hard to keep our costs down. And there's some places where we really can't control that. For example, purchase power. Basically, it's gone up 38%. And we've done what we can with that. We actually had a big project in 2015 that actually increased our efficiencies and reduced our electrical usage. So we've offset as much as we could against the increases that come from the power supply company, NIPSCO. Our chemicals have gone up 69%. It's not a question of where we buy it from. It's really a manufacturing issue. The manufacturers of our primary disinfectant, which is chlorine, have reduced their capacities. And when they reduce their capacity, it drives up the price. It works as any other commodity. Another piece to look at is just some of the materials that we buy on a regular basis. In 2015, we paid $15 for 8-inch water main per foot. Now it's $40 per foot. In 2015, fire hydrants cost us $1,300, and now they're about $3,500. So 168% increase in the cost of those. And this is experienced by all water utilities across the country. This isn't an issue unique to us. Meters. The meters that we have in most people's homes used to cost $178. Now they're up to $297, almost $300. And then a vehicle. I just grabbed an SUV. This is the vehicle that I currently drive. It's a 2016 Ford Edge. We paid just under $30,000 for it back when we bought it. And now that vehicle, the equivalent vehicle, is $43,000. So those all are costs that we have to look at and stretch how much we can do with the money that we do make. Go ahead to the next. So a big piece of our rates is our capital. What do we spend money on for improvements and development? In this list, I have several items that provide improvements on pumping efficiency. We have some aging facility improvements, chemical safety, other efficiencies and safety issues, area pressure issues, some continuity of service. So we have some storage. We have some chemical feeds that we need to do out at booster stations. As our system gets bigger and stretches further, that disinfectant starts to break down and doesn't do the job effectively, so we need to boost it. Those are actually pretty inexpensive projects, but we do need to do them and get them done. We have remodeling or relocating our office space. Our office space was last remodeled in the 1980s, and handicap accessibility is good up to the counter to pay the bill, but you can't go past there. It's not up to ADA standards as far as getting inside the building beyond making a bill payment. So we have to look at that piece as well. Plus, our HVAC systems are archaic. They're from the 60s, and they're falling apart on us. We have an elevated storage tank on the south end of our system. That area is currently run under a booster station. This elevated tank would actually help equalize pressures. It's like when, and this is all of basically everything US 20 south. So this tank would serve that entire area. And then going on to the next page, we have some water main projects. We are looking at having to do a loop in an industrial area in the US 20 Johnson Road 212 area. As you remember, there was an extension that was done as part of the annexation. When there's further development, obviously we would have the developers being involved in the expense, but there is going to be expense on the part of the department to get things tied together. We have in the Eastgate area, we have some water main replacements to improve flow to the tank that's at Carroll Avenue. Out on Muir Road, we have an area that was annexed, as part of the Lakeland annexation in the 1960s, and that area still does not have water. This would actually loop our system as well. And then we have some annual water main replacement programs. We have a lot of very old water mains, and we need to start replacing them rather than waiting for them to break and then just piecemealing it together. Going on to the next slide. Now, the timing on this is spectacular, right? With regard to concerns and questions about the data center. Not one single project is in benefit or a result of that data center. We don't need to do anything for that data center. It's that the water was already there, the pipe was already there. We do have one project that's near that project, and if you look at the screen, this is a color representation of our pressure that we have out in that area. You can see the yellow star, that's where the data center is. We're looking at putting a booster station out by Eastwood, and by doing that, the folks that are currently to the east of this data center are currently down in the 30s and 40s for pressure, which doesn't sound too bad, except that as you start stretching further, and we have a lot of commercial development out there, and that commercial development is in need of water. We do actually have one commercial customer that has some concerns with regard to that. They're functioning. The pressure is, quote unquote, the legal amount, but it's not as good as it should be. So by putting that booster station in there, we actually drastically improve the pressures out to the east of eastern part of our current pressure system. So those are areas that are filling in and developing. It's growth areas. As you can see, it also turns and heads south a little bit. That also helps that area. It's recently annexed, and we're going to have industrial development in there. So better pressure industrial developments is always better. Main replacement. We have about 240 miles of water main across our entire system. Out of that 240 miles, 44.7 miles of that are greater than or equal to 100 years old, which means we're looking at water main that's getting near its end of life based on the design. Design is 100 years. We also have another 8.2 miles that are 95 to 100 years old. So that's a good chunk of water main to have to replace. What we plan to do is do as much as we can in-house. and if we can't do it in-house, we're going to use contractors, but we're going to try and stretch the dollars as far as we can, assuming we get the full amount that we end up asking for. And so the total projects for our construction, about 43.6 million. For the non-construction, that's engineering, permits, all that fun stuff, about 7 million. Total cost of projects is about 50,500,000. We are looking at phasing this. We can't do all this work at once. We can't, and we don't want to. We can't borrow the money all at once if we can't do all the work at once. So we're looking at doing this based on what is a priority, and our priorities are a lot of the safety items, the water quality issues, pressure issues, those sorts of things. So the first phase, if based on the schedule we're looking at right now, we're looking at selling bonds of about $35 million worth of bonds. And the second phase would be in 2029 for about $15.6 million worth of bonds. We are adding a contingency. This is based on our legal recommendations. Then that way we don't have to redo all of the resolutions and votes that occur. But we still have a long road to go on this. We still have to run this through the IURC, and the IURC is our regulator for our rates. And the OUCC, which is Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, they review our process as well. They review all of our projects. They review the rates that we're looking to put in, and in the end, there will be negotiation back and forth. And our intention is to prove that what we're asking for is fair, just, and appropriate. And we hope that they agree, but there's no guarantees on what's going to be agreed to at this point. So the big question everybody's asking right now: what does this mean for my rates? What am I going to pay in my water bill? Yeah, it's a fair question. I'm a customer too. I'm paying these rates as well. So, it's a question that sits in the back of my mind as I operate this utility, making sure that that I'm treating everybody the way I want to be treated. Our current residential average monthly bill, this is just for water, so I need to make sure I clarify that this is just for water, is $23.09. That's based on 535 cubic feet, and the reason we normally bill in 100 cubic foot increments, but the reason they use the 535 is so they could compare our rates to other utilities, and I'll get to that screen in a minute. We're looking at phasing this in over a 3-year span. 2027, we would increase the bill by $9.21 to $32.30. In 2028, we would increase another $3.28 to $35.58. And in 2029, that'd be the last increase on that we're looking to ask for, and that would be $3.62 up to a total of $39.20. So the overall water bill increase after 3 years is $16.11. And I know that's a lot. It sounds like a huge. It is a huge increase. And we want to try and we've done everything we can to limit the impact to folks. But one of the things we want to point out is we have very inexpensive water as it is right now. On this chart, this is a comparison of rates where we are today and where we're going to be in the future. Michigan City is in yellow. Indiana American Water is in teal on the far right side. Those are communities that are served by them. Dyer, Schererville, they actually buy water from other utilities. And then Valparaiso, obviously as it stands, and LaPorte as it stands. As of today, our rate of $23.09 puts us in a very low category. We're at the very low end of these comparative locations. even after the first increase, we're at $32.30. After the second increase, the $35.58, moving right, and then the last one, $39.20 in 2029. A thing to notice, though, is the red box is the state average. That's based on beginning of 2025, where the state average rates are and bills for the same volume of water. And the state average is $39.52. So even after the 3-year span, the three increases, we're going to still be below the state average as of the beginning of 2025. So you know that state average is going to go up as it goes along. The Northwest Indiana average is the purple box. So that's taking all utilities in Northwest Indiana. And as you can see, we're way below that average right now. And we will continue to be well below that average. And that average is just as the other average at the beginning of 2025. So even after these increases, we are still going to be one of the lowest cost water utilities in the state and in the area. And we want to be that way. This is good for our customers to be, low price. That's also good to help, be an incentive to to developers, industries, that sort of thing. So, so where are we at right now? At the Waterworks Board meeting on November 10th, the board approved a rate ordinance. What that rate ordinance does is it says, based on the report that we got from Baker Tilly, these are the rates that they're recommending. So we're adopting these rates for the purpose of filing a case. We cannot touch the current rates until we go through this entire process with the Utility Regulatory Commission. The Waterworks Board approved a declaratory resolution for bonding on November 25th. And what that resolution says is that the Waterworks Board is intending to purchase bonds or sell bonds, I guess is the proper phrasing, that the Waterworks Board is intending to sell bonds to cover these capital expenses. We then issued a public notice. We will have a public hearing at that meeting on December 9th. And following that public hearing on December 9th, which is our regularly scheduled board meeting, we will then have a confirmatory resolution with the bond ordinance built in for the department. And that'll be at that Waterworks Board meeting on December 9th. So basically, we need now prior to the end of this year, we need to file our case with the IURC. The reason why is because if we don't get it done by the end of the calendar year, we'll have to start over with calculating numbers. The IURC uses what's called a test year, and you can't go too far out. We're using the year 2024. They like us to use calendar years. So we're trying to get that in there in time for that. As I stated, the IURC and the OUCC will review our testimony. They will look at what our projects are, what our costs are, what we're looking at for the future, and make sure that we're doing things in the best interest of our customers. There will likely be a public hearing on this in late spring. The IURC does like to do those. And the earliest there would be a judgment would be very late fall of 26. So we're within between 9 months to a year out before anything actually happens to the actual water bill itself. This is all in the process of review. So now the next question is, what are we asking the city council? Why am I here? According to Indiana code and ordinance, the Waterworks Board is responsible to set the rates and sell those bonds. And I identified the Indiana codes on here. Sorry, I can't help myself sometimes. The department is requesting the council to consider at the next meeting. If not, we'll talk about it, but we're asking the council to consider a confirming resolution. What that is basically it's in support of our decision to issue these bonds. There is a draft copy that was handed out to all of the council members and has also been provided to legal for their review. As I stated, it is a resolution. I do understand that we would have to have one of the council members willing to be the sponsor it. Yeah, sorry, I don't deal with the city council stuff too often. I apologize for that. But we would, if there are any city council members interested in sponsoring, I would just need to know who that would be. And so that's basically what we're looking for and why I brought this before the council. Wanted to switch. I do have my email address and my office phone number for folks to ask questions. I'm more than willing to answer any questions I can. And then, of course, if there's any questions right now, I'll be happy.
Councilman Frisbee.
Yeah, just a suggestion, Chris. Does the water department have a website by chance?
We don't usually have, we don't have a website. We have a static website that basically links to the city website. So things will be.
Because what my suggestion is if you could put this, presentation on the website, and if the public wants to go out and look at it and see what you're talking about, you get more information. It might be helpful, or talk to City Hall and see if they put it on their website.
We would end up putting it on the city on the city website because, like I said, we have a website, but it's static with basically just a link. It just has a link to the city's website on it. So.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
I'll call some, see if they would do that.
I will work with the IT department and work on that.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there any other comments or questions from the council? Councilman Beatrice?
I don't know if this is possible or not, but I know the IURC, generally when you go to them, regardless of what you are selling or what you're providing to the public, you ask for A and they approve you for B.
That's generally how it works. Yeah, there's a negotiation process.
Right.
Yes.
So we have A before us now.
Right.
You're asking for the council to give you a resolution to support that. I'd feel a little more comfortable approving you if I knew what the IURC was going to say as B than jumping on A right now. Just my personal feeling. I don't know how the rest of the council feels.
I understand that, and yeah, that's. I mean, like I said, with the responsibility falling on the board to make this process move and go to the IURC. I mean, we do have to get this filed, and we do plan to file this. I mean, I understand where you're coming from on that, and obviously, right now, what we're it's just like any other negotiation process. You go in with your wish list, and then in the end, you know what you're going to get. And it's going to be a lengthy process, a lot of conversations, a lot of trips down to Indianapolis, and so we'll be doing this for a while. So it'll be a while before we even know what the IURC is in suggestion of. That's quite a ways off.
Are there any other comments or questions from the committee, from the council?
Right.
I there are no further comments or questions. Mr. Johnson, I would like to thank you for this presentation. This is something that the City of Michigan City residents needs to know and to be aware of. And I will ask and hope that they will also continue to follow along with how this is going to be moving forward, because at some point this is something that will be possibly happening in the near future. So again, I thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. I do want to state that I will be leaving here in a few moments. I have a 5-hour trip to a conference where I have to speak tomorrow morning on a different topic. And so if there's media or any other questions, please use my contact information and I will get back as soon as I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And safe travel.
All right, thank you.
Chief Taylor?
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
How are you all? How was your Thanksgiving?
Still stuff.
Good, good. All right. So I'm going to give a quick monthly data report. And then I have some recognitions I'd like to make. So for the month of November, we had a total of 392 calls. And then the breakdown, it's not going to equal out because there's 34 reports that haven't made it all the way through the system yet. So we don't know exactly what those were, but they're in the total. We had 12 fire calls, 250 medical calls. Narcan was used 4 times on those medical calls. 17 hazardous conditions, which did not include fire. 7 service calls, 28 good intent, and 43 false alarms with 1 special incident type. I know I didn't get this emailed out, totally forgot that, so I'll email this to you all tomorrow, so you all have it if you need it or want it. So again, that was 392 calls for the month of November, compared to 371 last year, so we're 21 over what we had in November last year, and we're over for year to date. Last year at this point, we were at 4,605 calls. This year we're 4,623, so we're 18 more than we were last year, so not by a lot, but just a little bit. Any questions on that?
Quick question. What is a good intent call? What is that?
It's kind of like they get toned out. Let's say you go somewhere and they get canceled en route. Like they're told it, medics may call them off on a medical call, or the alarm company calls back and says, oh, we were working on something. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. You went to go for it and then you get called off or something. So no problem. Any other questions? All right, so I would like to make some recognitions tonight. One is a little older. It kind of fell through the cracks. It wasn't forgot. It was just kind of fell through the cracks. We don't really have anything to give our divers. Working on that. So we don't have anything like they can pin on their uniform or anything like that. And I haven't found any other departments nearby that has anything either. They never really thought about that. So we are working on that. When we do have that, they will get that. But I have 2 I have one from the boat races last year in 2024. I received this email a couple months after the boat races were over. And I'd like to read the email in its entirety because it speaks of the department as well. And we had a firefighter and a police officer. I believe the police have already recognized diver Officer Galati, and our firefighter was Nick Pabone, and he has been recognized. So I'd like to read this off, and it came from David Harshfield. It's like CEO. He runs Darkside Rescue, which was the contracted rescue company that would come in and provide divers, and they worked with the public or the local divers as well. So our divers would go train with them and then work with them for the weekend. So the email reads, it says, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of your fire department, especially those members of your dive rescue team. For the past 4 seasons, Darkside Rescue has partnered with Offshore Powerboat Association, working as coordinator for rescue and safety. Each year, the experience just keeps getting better. Once again, you and your department have exhibited a sincere dedication to duty and an outstanding performance. From the first day of training with our race boat capsule simulator on through out to the race event, your team provided the best possible professional response. I highly recommend acknowledgement to your team for an outstanding job well done. One rescue in particular, firefighter Nick Pabone, was teamed with Darkside Rescue diver Steve Bunting and Michigan Police diver Mark Galati. The team responded to an ejection accident on the west end of the race course. A diver was deployed from the Angel Rescue helicopter, and the team worked in an amazing fashion to access the severely injured victim in the water, maintain a patient airway, maintain cervical spine immobilization, and package him for transport to the responding fire rescue boat. Firefighter Pabon executed his part in the rescue as a complete professional. He was part of the training for that exact scenario just days before. A special commendation to Firefighter Pabon is certainly well deserved. And he finishes it off with look forward to every year for the event in Michigan City. And with that, I do like the acknowledgement of our firefighters' professionalism. And like I said, he's been recognized. Officer Galati had been recognized. And I did the simulator as well. It was pretty cool. So I just wanted to let that be known. Like that's our divers are being recognized for the job that they do. So I can't take anything away from them, and I only give them praise. Anybody have any questions on that one? Okay. Firefighter Pabon couldn't be here tonight because I was going to have him be here, but he's helping the high school dive team and stuff. So he's busy every Tuesday till like March. So the next one, what I'm going to do, as you see, we got all EMS, firefighters and stuff. I'm going to read this off. There's really nothing I can add to this other than when you hear this and hear what happened. This is actually just the absolute definition of teamwork. Everybody worked. You know, we don't usually train with the police that much, especially with diving issues or diving kind of incidents or anything like that, and EMS, all that. Everything worked so flawlessly, seamlessly. They couldn't have had a better. The only way they would have had a better outcome is if they had actually been there as it happened, as this vehicle went into the water. So from what I understand, it was an actual witnessed event. So they were 911 was immediately called. And it says in here, there's a time frame. I'll get to that when I get to that part of it. But there couldn't have been a better job. And I received a lot of compliments on how it went. So what we'd like to do is go ahead and recognize them. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this. And this came from Battalion Chief, our Assistant Chief, Johnny Mellon, who actually was in command of that particular call. So I guess the actual address was Water Street, 100 Water Street. It was Trail Creek. So on behalf of the Michigan City Fire Department, we wish to formally recognize the outstanding professionalism, composure, and teamwork demonstrated during a water rescue operation at 100 Water Street following a report of a vehicle submerged in the water. Upon notification, Michigan City Fire Department units, including Engine 1, Engine 2, Ladder 1, and Car 10, responded immediately and arrived on scene with all rapid rescue and support equipment. Crews were directed by an on-scene civilian to the point of entry. At the water's edge, a local boat owner, Mr. Michael Simmons, which I did try to contact him as well, but was unable to. So we were going to continue to try to contact him as well to recognize him. Mr. Michael Simmons selflessly offered the use of his boat, allowing rescuers to reach the scene quickly and operate efficiently. His willingness to assist exemplifies the highest form of community partnership and courage. Michigan City Fire Department diver Randall Howlett entered the water first, followed by Michigan City Police Department diver Michael Oberly and firefighter divers Andrew Cass and Christopher Blake, all operating in zero visibility in extreme conditions. Guided by Engine 1, who identified bubbles from the submerged vehicle, the divers began their search, breaking through windows to access the interior and locate victims. Their coordination, focus, and urgency were exceptional. Michigan City Fire Department driver-operator Brian Gonzalez entered the water, tethered and wearing a personal flotation device to assist in moving the first victim to the back of the boat. Working seamlessly together with Engine 1 and Ladder 1 crews, the victims were lifted onto the dive platform, secured in a Stokes basket, and transferred to the waiting fire department, EMS, and police department personnel. The second victim was recovered with the same precision and teamwork. Both were transported, one by Medic 6 and the other by Medic 4, within an extraordinary time frame of less than 30 minutes from the vehicle entering the water. And from what I understand, it was actually like 26 minutes. So, although the outcome was tragic, It is important to recognize that both victims regained pulses due to the rapid, coordinated, and professional response of everyone involved. DNR divers subsequently conducted a secondary search of the vehicle and a perimeter search around the vehicle and assisted with securing the vehicle for removal. Michigan City Fire Department and LaPorte County EMS crews remain on scene, providing lighting, logistical assistance, and continued support until the operation was complete. This incident reflects the very best of what it means to serve, courage in the face of uncertainty, while unwavering teamwork and commitment to giving victims every possible chance for survival. The efforts of our divers, Michigan City Fire Department, LaPorte County EMS, Michigan City Police Department, DNR, and the selfless actions of Mr. Simmons stand as a powerful reminder of how preparation, training, and community partnership saves lives. Your actions during this operation embody the highest traditions of the fire service. On behalf of the department and the community we serve, thank you for your professionalism, bravery, and dedication. Respectfully, John Mellon, Assistant Chief, Michigan City Fire Department. And the responding personnel, I'll name them off. You know what? I'll go ahead and name them off as he's going to hand out those things we got for him. And I'm sure there's not going to be any close to any order of what I have down here. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and I'll read these off as driver operator Randall Hallett. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. What we'll do is we'll get everybody together down here and get just a group because that's going to be the easiest, fastest way to save some time. Firefighter Ryan Stanley. Where's Ryan at? Couldn't make it? Okay. I know it was kind of short notice, so some people, you know, I don't know. Probationary firefighter Edwin Schmidt. Driver operator Brian Gonzalez. Driver operator Daniel Nona. Assistant Chief Johnny Mellon. Battalion Chief Johnny Mellon. Firefighter Cody. Probationary firefighter Cody Stroud. No. Christopher Blake. Driver operator Christopher Blake. Driver operator Robert Hooper. I didn't see who here. No. Driver operator Austin Swistek, which I didn't see him either. Firefighter Andrew Katz. Andrew Cass. Captain Anthony Stahoviak. It's appointment. Sergeant Michael Overly. Chief. Yes, sir. Paramedic Eric Wood. Paramedic Hannah Covert. Paramedic Brian Thornton. EMT Jeff Turner. Jeff Turner. EMT Heather Van Sickle. And EMT Landon West. Thank you. So I wanna thank you for giving us that time. Everybody up here that I have worked with over the years, and even I haven't worked with, everybody's been absolutely professional, knowledgeable, all that. I mean, you can't ask for a better crew. And this call here alone demonstrates that. You're not going to get a better bunch of people, in my opinion. And I'm proud to have worked with them, and I'm proud to be able to say I have worked with them and that I continue to work with them, even though it's in a different capacity for now. I'm still proud. I get compliments all the time. I really do get compliments all the time, and I love it. It makes me feel good because I know we're doing something right. So we don't always get the recognition that we should, but sometimes there's just some calls that you really got to recognize and some things that go on. So again, I want to thank all of them for being a part of Michigan City and being here for the citizens and the people that visit our city. So thank you. So we can all get together. We'll get us a picture somewhere. And huh? Oh, we can do it right out here. We can make it work, man. We got room down here before. That's why I'm smarter back here. I used to bat better this way. Got my fat neck. Okay, big time. Fat shoulders. Thank you for that. That's it for me. If anybody's got it, unless it's, no, all good. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I'll be talking to you guys again a little later, I think. So.
As we gather ourselves and we are back to the agenda, we are still under reports from mayor or other city officers and departments.
Community Council, Steve Forker, Chief of Police, Michigan City Police Department. Again, obviously want to echo the same words as Chief Taylor. And obviously we have a special group of first responders here in Michigan City and LaPorte County. Obviously the collaborative effort, just this one incident speaks highly of, right, the dedication and professionalism and selflessness of the individuals that we have here. So again, congratulations. And again, we're lucky to have those special first responders in our community. Again, I'll be quick, hopefully, and just go over again our statistics for October. I'm sorry, for November here. So our total calls for service was 3,225. 55 of those were disturbances reported. 387 reports taken. We had 31 shots fired. Again, we broke that down by ward. So 6 calls for shots fired in Ward 1, 7 in Ward 2, 7 in Ward 3, 3 in Ward 4, 4 calls for service in Ward 5, and 4 calls in Ward 6. Again, so you see like the locations there indicated on your report there. Again, those are, let's say generalized specific locations by our Raven, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that's the address involved or whatnot, but the general specific location in collaboration with our Raven device. Total arrests for the month was 139. 18 of those were juveniles, 121 adults. Flock is actively being used in 27 investigations, 8 for warrant services, 6 accidents, 3 shots fired, and then 10 for robbery, burglary, mischief, shoplifting, other. Total seized firearms was 3, traffic stops 306, citations issued 201. Did see your email reference the overtime stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but yeah, we'll start including that in the monthly report as well, like we talked about. So yeah, yep. So that's all I have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, I do have a question for the chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was brought to our attention by Scott Medlin from the police commission now, that saying that the flock system, the cameras, the cost might be outweighing the beneficiality of using these devices. What is your opinion?
Well, I think if that helps solve one incident, right, is it worth the cost?
Yeah.
You know, I think as long as it's helping aid in our investigations, right, and, you know, again, if it helps us solve that one incident, you know, if whether it's you or your family or, you know, anybody in this community, if it helps solve that one incident, I think it's priceless. I understand there is costs, you know, the cost is a concern, right, you know, and we'll continue to look for ways to help fund that, right, as we have already, you know, to seek federal funding opportunities as well, whether it's grant assistance and whatnot. So I think we'll still explore those opportunities to help continue to fund that.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to get your professional opinion on that.
Thank you.
Councilman Dabney.
This is not a question. You can go ahead and have a seat, Mr. Fork, Chief Forker.
Wait, excuse me.
No, so don't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see her light on. Let her go first.
So this is in regards to Chief Worker?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Councilwoman Moldenauer and then.
Thank you. I am missing the second page of that report, so Ward 6 is not here. So if somehow I could get that second page, that would be great.
It's this evening, it's in your mailbox.
She can just have that one.
It's,
There's page 2 right there.
we all only got the first page, not the second. Thank you. Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. Chief, thank you for this update. I have a question about the shots fired calls. Are those the locations of the flock system, or are these locations that the calls came from?
That would be from the Flock Raven locations, right, that the system essentially triangulates a locations in which it calculates where the shots came from. So yeah, so that's what these locations are for. So if it's an actual specific address, it doesn't mean that address is specifically involved in the incident, but that's where it triangulated the call for service to.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
So it's basically a reference point for us when responding, like, we should probably look here. So,
Thanks.
yeah.
Councilman Beatrice?
Thank you, Madam President. I mentioned this to you earlier before the meeting started, but I want to do this for the public's benefit as well. It seems to be the night to give commendations to police and fire, and I've got a special commendation that I want to send out. About 2 days before Thanksgiving, I think it was, around 9:00 p.m., my wife and I were sitting in the house, and we heard a heck of a commotion on the south side of our house. Now, on the south side of our house, there are two large window wells, because we've got bedrooms that are 8 feet below ground level there. And there are 5 foot deep window wells that are kind of covered with a plastic thing to keep snow out and rain out. We've never, in over 20 years, we've never had a problem with it. But that night, about 9:00, a buck from across the street chased 2 does into our south yard. It's kind of, you can get in, you can't get out easy. And he was standing at one end, and they couldn't get out, and they were jumping all over the place. 2 window wells, a duck or a buck or a doe in each one. So I'm hearing all this commotion. I go downstairs to the basement. I look out this huge window in our bedroom, and there's a buck looking at me, and it can't get out. And I thought, what do I do? I don't know what. I could see both of them busting through the window and being inside our bedroom at night. And knowing, so I called the police.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, one of them miraculously jumped out the hole it had made going in.
Yeah.
But the other one was larger and couldn't get out. And it's stuffing around grass or dirt all over the place. It's banging into this window. And I thought, man, this is going right through this window. And Officer Scott Paul showed up. Mm-hmm. And Scott Paul went over to the side yard, looked in, started taking some of the cover off and going to the other end with his flashlight and making noise. And darned if that buck didn't jump out. It did bust through one of our windows, but it made its way out, and it didn't end up in our bedroom downstairs. Right. So special commendation above and beyond duty to Scott Paul.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, we appreciate that. We'll pass that along. Thank you.
Councilman Colton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So a couple of months ago, we've been having a conversation about homelessness, and I was just wondering what some of the changes you've made in your department and what results you're seeing.
I mean, obviously some of the concerns for downtown there, right? So obviously we've added, still to this day, are doing foot patrols downtown, right? Even in the inclement weather, which I think has gotten great response from the business community down there. Again, not so much effective, like I would say, homeless patrol, but more just community-based policing, right? Getting back to some of that stuff that, that we've gotten away from. I think, some of that traditional style policing and, getting back into the businesses, and meeting, right? And having those face-to-face conversations. So just more an effort on that, which I think has been very appreciative, which I think has yielded results. I think, from my perspective, I haven't fielded as many calls or complaints regarding that stuff. I haven't seen them on the public forum as much either. We're still working with other city departments, right, Vector, and code enforcement regarding some, so-called camps throughout the city, and working with identifying landowners, right? Some of these are private property locations, right, in which they ultimately have to be trespassed from that location, right, and that just relies on confirmation from the landowner to say they're not welcome, right? So then we can issue them trespass warnings and move them along accordingly, right? So again, just working in collaboration with obviously other city departments and some of our local shelters as well. So thank you.
Dr. Cora?
Thank you, Chief, for a very nice report. So on December 11th at 5 p.m., we have a Public Health and Safety Committee meeting to address this issue of homelessness. So if you can put it on your calendar, I'd appreciate if you can be there and then share some of the things that you're already doing and what we as a community can do together to address this issue. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Councilwoman Lee?
Thank you. Hello again. I have a shout out for Captain Ashley. One of my students, an 8th grader, really wants to be a police officer and is obsessed with everything police. And so I took that class to the police station for a tour, and she was so kind and generous with her time, and she took us through everything, and she answered every single one of his questions. Awesome. And there were a million, and she was just so wonderful about it. So shout out to her. And so I will be back with all of my other classes for a tour because it was wonderful.
Right, we appreciate that. And again, obviously, you're always welcome.
Councilman Beardry?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilman Dabney?
Make sure there are no other lights on. But like I said, I just have a comment, not a question. So you're good if you want to stand. Yeah. And I just want to talk about the flock system. When this whole thing started here in Michigan City, Deion Campbell was chief of police at the time. And when that first introduction happened to the council, Deion brought 2 council members down to witness the presentation for the flock system. It was myself and Dahlia Gigas at the time.
And myself.
And were you there as well? All right. So we had 3 down there. So we had a chance to see the flock system in action. And I've been a supporter of this from the very beginning. I know it has helped solve some crimes. I remember there was a shooting, I think it was like a day before Christmas or something like that over by Marquette.
Yep.
A couple of years back. And flock helped in solving that. And then, to find someone who's murdered or shot somebody, killed somebody, for the family of to have someone captured and be held accountable for shooting their relative, I think they would say it's well worth the investment. So now I don't think we should be running around putting prices on people's heads. Is it worth it? Damn right, it's worth it. Yeah. And I also had an incident. If we would have had flock at the time, we probably would have caught the person responsible for this. I was laying at home about 4:30 in the afternoon. Matter of fact, we were waiting to go to a public hearing over at New Hope Missionary Baptist Church on the west side, talking about gun violence. I was laying on the bed, resting up to go over to that. And all of a sudden I started to hear gunshots right outside my house. There were 2 cars in the intersection shooting at each other. The intersection is probably, you know exactly where I'm at, about 20 feet away from my house. One kid jumps out of the car, takes off running around the back of my house. The other guy shooting at him. Shooting. 4 bullets came into my house. It splintered, destroyed the television, and I was laying there probably about 10, 15 feet away from where those bullets came through the wall. If that flock cameras and those flock cameras that are in Eastport right now were up there, they would have identified those vehicles, and you guys would have had a lead in order to be able to do some things to help out. So I wish we had flock even earlier. I'm a big supporter of it, and I'm getting a little, I don't want to say, almost damn near offended that people you're still fighting against this. This has done a lot of good. When Chief Marty Corley was talking about it, he said the same thing. Chief Forker is now talking about how good these results are. So I just want to say I'm in complete support, and it just kind of irks me that this conversation keeps coming up. We're talking about the cost of this system versus the cost of people's lives and everything like that here in Michigan City. So thank you guys.
Thank you for your support, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm glad that Chief Worker went before me. I'm glad that Dr. Cora and Councilman Coulter asked their questions, because that is kind of what I came to talk to you all about. I'm really excited. I'm Kelly Smith. I'm Chief Administrator in the Mayor's office. I'm the person that people who come to City Hall, whether it's complaining, crying, cussing, in crisis, those people wind up in my office. So it's been a whole lot of learning since I've been working in the mayor's office. And one of the things that I have learned in these last 2 years, a lot about, is our housing situation. Whether it is our unhoused residents, our people who are, a paycheck away from possibly dealing with that situation. So it's been something that I personally have been working on a lot the last 2 years. So I'm really excited that you guys are doing that meeting on the 11th, and I wanted to come give you an update. This is a significant part of my job, but probably not something that you all would know is going on. And so I want you to have the information before you go into that meeting. I'm going to try not to read to you, but I just sat down and was like, let me just run through this chronologically, just so I could remember all of the things that we've been doing in the mayor's office and at the city to just address homelessness, really, in the ways that we are able and that we know how. And maybe this is the former news reporter in me, but I'm just going to kind of start with a story. Some of you all may remember, do you all remember last winter coming in and there was a homeless gentleman that spent a lot of time at City Hall last winter? Paul, anybody remember him? Yeah. I think I kind of tried to get to know Paul because he was up here. City Hall functions as a warming center. When the weather's cold, as a cooling center when it's hot outside. And so Paul was essentially using City Hall as a warming center. It took some time to get him to trust me and talk to me. But once he did, I learned that he lives in a tent outside. So I talked to him about the resources that I knew that we had available in town, trying to direct him, and learned that he was not interested in staying in a shelter. This was something he was choosing, a lifestyle that he was choosing. And then I got to talking to him one day, and I'm like, tell me what it is that you would want to do. I imagine that coming to City Hall and just being here for 8 hours each day is not really how you want to spend your day. If it were up to you and the city could provide some sort of services or resources that are not already available in town, what would you be looking for? And he gave us some ideas, specifically a place where he could go to use communication devices. So to communicate with his family, friends. It sounds like he doesn't have a way to contact anyone and no one has a way to contact him. So I started looking into that, and I did learn that I believe people can go to Keys to Hope, and I think as long as you have a state ID and maybe a Medicaid card, you can get a phone. But he wasn't interested in actually having his own phone. But anyway, Paul just kind of, he sent us on our own spiral in trying to figure out how we could better serve our unhoused population. I think he was with us, I want to say December. It was around first snow, so like December, January, February, maybe even March. Paul was up here with us. And Jocelyn Colburn, she is our social worker at MCPD. I called her out here, and Canine Officer Kane Fletcher came. We just tried to make sure, that he had the resources that he needed. But we took our conversation with him, and Jocelyn, Officer Fletcher, and myself wound up attending the Police Assisted Addiction and Recovery Initiative. It was a conference that we attended in February because we wanted to bring the kind of resources that Paul is looking for to Michigan City. The mayor was on board. She supported it. So we went to this conference to learn about what other communities are doing in terms of providing like low barrier day centers with, you know, showers and laundry. And I know that we have some of that at Keys to Hope, but we were thinking even more all encompassing, possibly partnering with whether it be Ivy Tech or PNW and bringing in like teaching students to come help with resumes and interviewing skills, stuff like that. Possibly partnering with their nursing students to come just do basic like medical checkups, or provide, you know, very basic. Just we had this great lofty idea, right? And we wanted to explore it, so we did. Even started researching grants to see, because obviously that's not something that's on in the city's budget. We're not equipped to just build or purchase a building to provide this, but we wanted to learn how to partner with other community agencies to see if that's something we could bring here. Fast forward a little bit to June, and Mayor joined a consortium of around 40 mayors from throughout the state of Indiana, all of whom come from communities that are also facing the same or similar issues that we are in terms of homelessness and panhandling, which is a separate issue, but things like that, right? So she participated in that roundtable and came back and was like, we need to rethink this. I don't think bringing in a new facility or a new resource is the answer. So we were talking about all of the ideas that she brought back, and I'll let her speak more to those since she was at that. But a big one that stuck with her and that's kind of guided our thinking as we've moved forward is trying to reconnect people with their families. Our unhoused neighbors, who are LaPorte County residents, Michigan City residents, a lot of us know them or we know their families, right? So we've been talking about ways to possibly reconnect our neighbors with their families. People who come here from outside LaPorte County, outside Michigan City, helping to reconnect them. So that's something that we're really looking at. I don't know if you all are aware, we learned recently in a meeting with Harry Holtkamp from Nest and his board that Nest Community Shelter is the only one here, the one here in Michigan City is the only one that offers emergency shelter to men, just men coming in as single individual people, between South Bend on the east, Gary on the west, and Lafayette on the south. So when, you know, what happens when the shelters in those communities are at capacity is they hand them a list of other shelters in the state. And, you know, if we happen to be the closest one, people wind up here in search of shelter. So we do have an intern working on a similar list for us as well, because I know that we also have a capacity that we are approaching. But I'm just going to go through this so that I'm not up here for so long. This is a lot. Some other things that we've done to address housing and homelessness this year. It's just, this kind of feels like a good time to do a year in review since you guys are having this meeting in December. In January, the mayor provided ARPA funding for the Salvation to operate as an overnight men's shelter, homeless shelter. When we had that really big winter storm in January. So I know that they got some ARPA funding to open Salvation Army as a shelter. We sent more ARPA funding to Salvation Army in May when the city had to close those 2 motels for code violations. It displaced several families, and it happened to be a Friday. A lot of them had paid rent that day, and the facility was not in a position to hand them money back. So again, an emergency allocation of ARPA dollars to Salvation Army, and then they were able to get emergency shelter for those residents who were displaced. And that funding has stayed there. I know that there was an incident several months ago, I think it was summer, where a house somewhere in town that had been condemned, there was an elderly tenant living upstairs, and the homeowner, the landlord, did not inform this man that the house had been condemned. So when our code enforcement officers went out and saw that there's activity there's a person living in this condemned home, he had to vacate like immediately. So he was another person that I know benefited from that. So that's just kind of a fund that they keep on going for emergency situations. Let's see. I don't want to give you all this. Chief Borger talked about foot patrols. We brought Jocelyn and her intern to the mayor's office. We met with Caitlin Kalisic, who is basically Jocelyn's counterpart at the LaPorte Police Department. And we discussed how it would be a good idea for Michigan City to establish a street team. It would consist of social workers, peer recovery coaches, mental health navigators, things like that. And so I know Mayor applied for a grant with the state health department for that. We did not get in on this round of funding, but we got some really good feedback for the next round. So we'll be reapplying because the street team is something that we want to pursue. So that's something I feel like you guys should know about. Chief Worker talked about encampments. October 16th, I know Councilman Prespolinski was there at the start of it. We brought in many of the community agencies that serve our unhoused population, as well as some local business owners, and then the department heads who work with that community or are impacted by the issue. So like fire was there, code enforcement was there, vector control, myself. We had everybody meet down here to talk about what we're seeing and what we'd like to do to move forward from here, how to address it. I like the idea that came out of the end of the meeting. I don't know if you got filled in or not, but we are after the start of the new year because the holidays are a tough time, but a tough time for scheduling this. We will be hosting a community meal for our unhoused population, at which our service providers will be there, but it'll be very informal, casual. It'll be at Salvation Army, I believe. Just to have everyone there to talk about, like just to kind of get on the same page. What are y'all experiencing? How can we help you? So we're looking to schedule that after the new year. I'm gonna find that in here. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's where we are with that. And we've gotten some really good guidance from Mike Kilborn. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Mike Kilborn. He's given us some really good guidance on how to structure that conversation and kind of get to be productive, to make it a productive meal and conversation. I and Jocelyn and then Dominique Edwards, Dr. Dominique Edwards, she's our planning director, but she also is the administrator of our community development block grant. And for anyone that doesn't know what that is, CDBG, it says, I believe the city had $658,791 in CDBG funds, but I believe 150,000 of it. Does that sound right? You all probably could fact check me on that. That's used to help keep people who may be a paycheck away from becoming homeless, right? To help them with home repairs, to keep them in their homes. But So Dominique, Jocelyn, and myself, we participate on the home team. And they just sent us this year's point in time count. Has anyone come to you all with that this year? Are you aware of that? I'll give you the statistics on it then. So on one night in January every year, the Indiana Balance of State Continuum of Care and the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority does what is called a point in time count. So they go out into the communities to count people living outside in their cars and so forth. And then that helps you to kind of build statistics on your rate of homelessness. Okay. So this year, that date was January 29th. We are in Region 1, which consists of Jasper, LaPorte, Newton, Porter, Pulaski, and Stark counties. Let's see. The Region 1 total from the 2025 count included 279 people, up 41.6% from the 197 people in the 2024 count. Much of this increase in people experiencing homelessness in Region 1 came from Porter County. While LaPorte County saw a rise, the total increased by 19 people from 2024 to 2025. So we went from 118 people outside at last year's count to 137 people outside in 2025's count. And then obviously the 2026 count will be next month. But those results did not come to us until fall of this year. So I don't know that we'll know the 2026 numbers for the better part of another year. What else? We've discussed homelessness does not come out of nowhere, right? There are multiple reasons for it, whether it is mental health related, substance abuse related, cost of housing. So we are kind of just attacking from each of those angles as we're able. A big one is the opioid task force that Mayor Angie established this year. They began meeting in the summer, and in October, she closed the first, what did we call it? Restoring Communities, I believe, the Restoring Communities grant. So local organizations were able to apply for between $5,000 and $25,000 grants to address opioid use locally. We received, I think, just shy of, or maybe around 20 applications, totaling more than $400,000 in requests. We only have $167,000 in funds to disperse. So the people who are the organizations that will be awarded, that will be decided before the end of this year, and those funds will go out. I have a bottom line at the bottom, and then I'll let you all go. And I'm going to send this to you so that you have kind of a chronological breakdown. Economic hardships are real for many people. Homelessness is a complex problem faced by communities across the U.S. It impacts the quality of life for all residents of Michigan City. It's a concern for our local businesses, and it's crucial to ensure the unhoused population is stabilized as we are in a period of economic development and growth. We must address the situation with compassion and empathy. And we have many organizations who are doing excellent work in serving our unhoused neighbors. I think that's all I have for you guys. I'll get you my stuff, unless anyone has any questions about statistics or dates or anything.
Councilwoman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Kelly, I knew that the mayor's office was doing a lot. And I've only heard a few of these efforts that you and Mayor Angie have been engaged in. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you all very much that you've been silent partners behind the scene, but I knew that you were doing something. So just thank you for enlightening all of us the amount of thoughtfulness compassion and attention to detail that serving our unhoused individuals really takes. And a lot of people don't know, but I was a social worker in St. Louis, in North St. Louis. So I intimately understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish and how extremely difficult that is. So thank you to you, the mayor, all of the team members of Michigan City that are really tackling this in a very significant and meaningful way. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you all for calling this meeting on the 11th, and I was really excited to be able to tell you about it because that's the kind of stuff. Again, this is our financial arm, right, of city government, and a lot of this is stuff that we don't get to do with our budget. So I know a lot of this doesn't come before you, and you don't know, or you may not know what's going on, but we really are working at it. So I appreciate the opportunity to tell you all about it.
Councilman Nelson, did you still want to comment?
When it comes to the opioid distribution, you said by the end of the year, correct?
Yes, it is. They'll definitely be determined by the end of the year. I don't know the rules with that. I think you guys would probably know when those funds have to go out, the city's opioid funds. Do they have to be dispersed before the end of this year?
I believe so, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe so. We can get you that
Yeah, but they'll all be decided. We've gotten them all in. We figured out. We've kind of helped some people partner to try to make sure that we're trying to make sure that anyone who applied will benefit. If not given the grant themselves, maybe they can participate in some of the programming offered by another organization that applied. So we're working on it, trying to get everybody in there.
Okay, with 20 people applying, which exceeded the amount that we have to offer, how are you going about deciphering which initiatives are priority, important?
There's a committee. There's a grant committee. I don't know who's on it, but I have an email folder with applications, so I can let you know who applied and what they asked for. But
can you let me know who on the committee too?
Sure.
That's all.
That it?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Madam President, if I may, I'd like to call a 5-minute recess.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We will now adjourn for a 5-minute recess.
Are we ready?
The common council is back in session. Thank you all. Next on our agenda, we have petition. Madam Clerk, on the first petition by title only, please.
Petition was received in the clerk's office, a formal petition and legal objection to Economic Improvement District EID declaration pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-22 ET sequence and 6-1-1-11-4. Petition was carried over from November 18th council meeting until December 2nd council meeting.
On this petition, as of now, I would like to address this to Attorney Snow, if he would please elaborate on this.
Sure. The report from Attorney Harris this evening is that this is an item that is still he's still considering at this point. I believe that most recently he made a request for some supplemental documentation. And it's my understanding that there will be a report forthcoming at some point between now and the next meeting. And then either he or I should probably say, will be here at the next meeting to report out to the council as need be. So that's the current status.
And with that being indicated, and the reason again is for this, I will open this up to entertain a motion to have this matter set to be continued to held over till December 16th. May I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Core and a second by Councilman Dabney. What's that? Nelson, Councilman Nelson.
Nelson?
Yes. And if you would, Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Miss Lee?
Aye.
Miss Moldenar?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
And Dr. Cora?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, on communications.
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on November 26th from Rodney McCormick regarding an incident that occurred on November 10th. A notice of public comment was received on November 24th from IDEM regarding a new source construction and Part 70 permit for Lavender Fields Holding LLC. Correspondence was also received November 21st from Rodney McCormick regarding concerns and solutions to parking in the Canada neighborhood. Correspondence was received November 20th from NDOT regarding legal notice of planned improvement lead dis number 2000-0607. Correspondence was received on the 20th from Scott Mellon regarding concerns with the Michigan City Police Department block camera system. Correspondence on November 20th from Controller Mary Lynn Wall regarding additional appropriations for demolitions of the Millennium Plaza fountain for rainy day fund. Correspondence was also received on November 19th from Assistant Chief Cooney regarding the Michigan City Police Department October 2025 stat report. A tort claim was received on November 14th from Polanski and Chikun, CHTD. Correspondence was received on November 5th from Mary Angie regarding allegations made against economic development and use of city funds.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, our first resolution by title only, please.
A resolution by title only, a resolution increasing and decreasing certain appropriations within the budget of the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund 2201 for the year 2025 in Michigan City, Indiana, and this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Quick comment about this resolution and the next two to follow. These are simply movements within the fund or the budget of the department needing these. These are just not new money coming in. These are simple transfers within certain department from one line item to another.
This is now open up for public comment. Are there any comments on this resolution or the following two? Madam Attorney Snow, can I do it in that manner, or do I need to do them individually? If the clerk reads them all three, or?
So I actually think that the public comment that's interlineated is not necessarily a requirement that's pertinent to the city council. I think that's other areas of APRA. So I think that we can seek public comment at this point and then proceed with the three resolutions if that's what you're choosing to do. Yes.
Thank you. And just for the record, Madam Clerk, could you please read the next two resolutions?
A resolution by title only, a resolution increasing and decreasing certain appropriations within the budget of the central maintenance of the general fund 1101 from year 2025 in Michigan City, Indiana, and this is also introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Councilman.
You want me to go? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. A resolution by title only, a resolution increasing and decreasing certain appropriations within the budget of the mayor of the general fund 1101 for the year 2025 in Michigan City, Indiana, and this is also introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Councilman Dabney, did you have any comments?
None at this time.
I will convert this back. This is open for public comment now on all three resolutions. If you would please state your name and your address.
Dakota Euler, 718 Emma Street. Just being the nerd I am, I took a look at the mayor's payroll docket, and I saw that the special events team is part of that payroll. And so I would just like to say that I know the special events team has taken on extra work this year, including this Friday, how there will be a tree lighting ceremony in addition to the parade on Saturday. I did a quick search of that parade and events. The tree lighting is on Friday at 6 o'clock at the 7th Street Plaza. And Visit with Santa start at 7. And the parade will be at 5 o'clock on Saturday. I know the special events team does a great job with all the events that they bring to the city and the economic benefit that brings to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Euler. Public comments on either three of these resolutions.
Mary Lynn Wall, City Controller. I want to jump on that comment because I think it's also very pertinent. Once again, as Councilman Dabney mentioned, that this is not an increase in anybody's budget. It's just we're just at that time of year that we might have to move monies within the budget. But included with that, with the special within the mayor's office, it's really sometimes, and we've learned this from other departments too, overtime. We just never know. And Terry's got a great group, and sometimes they've got to work weekends, and they do try to flex their time out so that maybe they're not incurring so much overtime. But there is overtime when they've got to come in on weekends and work the special events for his hourly assistant. And then also in the mayor's office, we've got Board of Works meetings that actually the mayor wanted them to not always be the second Monday is in the afternoon, so that possibly more people can attend. So that also can have a problem, not a problem, but can incur overtime costs for her staff also, which once again, you may or may not be able to flex that time out. So that's why sometimes it's hard to know exactly if you're going to hit that right amount for overtime. So she's just over in her overtime by just a small amount of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? This is the last call for public comments. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Przybylinski?
A question on all three resolutions. So, and I know that we're not spending money. We're just transferring from one fund to another fund. But I'd like to know what fund we're transferring from and to.
Want me to read them?
It's Mary Lynn Wall, City Controller. It's within the same fund. If it's not, it's just within their own budget. So
yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, correct.
I understand.
So
and I'm just asking the budget.
Oh, correct. So the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, we're taking money from the salaries and wages and moving it down to repair and maintenance equipment. Because we had, some unforeseen that the repair and maintenance of the equipment cost more than what we had budgeted in Motor Vehicle Highway Fund. So that's described in the actual resolution. Let's find the.
Yeah, I don't have
The mayor's office is we're moving money from other communication and transportation, and moving it into this salary and overtime. And I think the last one is for central maintenance. Once again, it's taking out of their salaries and wages line item and moving it into his operating supplies for gasoline and other contractual services in central maintenance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other comments from the council? May I entertain?
Motion to approve all three. Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Councilman Beatrice and a second by Dr. Cora. Madam Clerk, on the votes, please.
Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Przybylinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
And Ms. Lee? Aye. We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, and all three resolutions have passed. Madam Clerk, by title only, would you please read our ordinance on first reading?
An ordinance on first reading by title only. An ordinance establishing salaries for the fire department of the city of Michigan City for the calendar year 2026. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
My only comment is in regards to this, that we are still in negotiations with everything and or bargaining. And as Councilman Dabney stated earlier, when he indicated in regards to where things stand with the information that has been provided to the Labor Relations Committee and discussions with your union reps. So in order to do this, it had to be put on first reading. And as Councilman Dabney indicated, as the committee also is in the agreement that if for whatever reason there it's still open for negotiations or bargaining, and hopefully that we can be able to come to a resolution by the next council meeting for second reading. And should that happens and we're all in the agreement, then we can make the amendment on the second reading and also then follow that up with the third reading on the 16th. If for whatever reason either the Labor Relations Committee or the fire or police union reps, and we cannot come to an agreement in regards to the future contract for 2026, as stated before previously on numerous occasions, then it means that it will convert back to the 2025 contract for fire and police. I would like to open this up for public comments. Public comments, please state your name and the address, and please keep in mind public comments are for 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Christopher Zabutis. I live at 161 Concord. I also represent Professional Firefighters Local 475.
Good evening.
I'm sure most of you remember I spoke at the October 21st council meeting to remind this council and your negotiating team of your obligation to bargain in good faith, and at that time, the city's failure to do so. I highlighted every single deadline and ordinance that the city failed to meet. I wish I were here tonight praising a successful negotiation process and a contract that we could all be proud of. But since that October 21st meeting, the firefighters and police have been given only 2 meetings, totaling just 2 hours to negotiate our respective contracts. And that is why tonight, as you stated, with this ordinance before you, with 29 days left in 2025, the firefighters and police are looking at no raise and no new contract for 2026. What's happening is not bargaining, it's certainly not good faith. It's checking a box and calling it a process. Within those 2 brief meetings, we were told that our hard work to keep the city safe means next to nothing. In order to receive the same benefit increases that the mayor and the council have already given the other city employees, the 2% that was mentioned earlier and other benefits, we were told that long-standing benefits, some more than 30 years old within our contract, must now be cut. The city is trying to make it harder for our firefighters to work overtime, spend time with our families, maintain any sense of work-life balance, and we are being told to work more for less. And the message that we're getting is that normal events of life, sickness, family emergencies, birth, death, and the need for time off should be punished. City insurance costs have also become so high that even with the proposed raise, I'm taking a financial loss to keep my family insured. And on top of that, the city wants to increase insurance costs for our retirees. Firefighters and police that gave 20, 30, and even 40 years to this community are now being told that their decades of service now come with a price, and it's time to pay up. So once again, I'm here demanding that the city make public safety a priority and show firefighters the same respect we give the city every single day. Like I said back in October, I put in my request in February, and we've been given 2 hours all year to negotiate. And it's not even negotiating. The last meeting, you guys handed us your proposal, asked if we had any questions, and that was it. Not a presentation, not an explanation, nothing. Simply come to the table, bargain in good faith. We've been patient, followed every rule, every deadline, and every requirement under both, not only our contract, but your city ordinances. But what we're seeing is now not leadership, it's not a partnership, and it's absolutely not respect. We show up for the city every day, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the morning. Whenever that stupid tone goes off, we're there. And once again, I'm asking the council finally show up for us, stand up for your employees, and insist on real negotiation, not a couple emails and 2 hours out of 365 days in a year. And again, public safety needs to be a priority, and we're not seeing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this ordinance?
Hi, Council. Daniel Nona, 2005 Highway 12, at least a third of the time. I just wanted to bring up, I know it was brought up for the raises in the past, the numbers 14%, things like that. I know it's happened before, and I just want it to be made public that where it is stated as a raise, we did fund a good portion of that raise ourselves through our own means with holiday incentive, things like physical fitness bonuses that we got, and other parts of benefits of our contract. We actually partially funded a good portion of those raises, and we just wanted that to be known as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Public comment on this ordinance. This will be the last call for public comments on this ordinance. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council? Are there any comments from the council on this ordinance? Comments from the council? There are none. Councilman Dabney.
Yes. And I just want to state that I do understand the frustration of what was said in the first comment with the timelines and everything like that we're supposed to start negotiations or do something. I forgot the first date. But in those situations, maybe we should have met so I could just sit them down for a couple of seconds and say, we're still waiting to figure out the numbers. Or maybe I could have gotten some of their requests beforehand. So I do take blame for that. I take blame for that. But we are in a situation, as I stated earlier, that has been dropped at our doorstep, and was unannounced to us that we have a $4.2 million cut with something that we passed in order to fund those 13, 14% raises that happened in the past. Now, all of a sudden, you pull that $4.2 million off the table, you have to find other ways to cover that, right? Simple math. And so what we've been trying to do is offer the 2% raise like we're doing with everybody else, but we are asking for some concessions in order to be able to fund that, because we cannot continue to add to salary and keep moving up when we, like I said, had a $4.2 million loss on the other end. And, he said he only got 2 hours of bargaining time, but at the very first meeting that we had, they brought a lawyer in with them who actually adjourned my meeting and walked out. And I went and approached him and said, "Are you adjourning my meeting?" And he just didn't say anything. And I actually put a piece of paper in his face that showed us some calculations. So he was the one that walked out of that meeting when we were ready to continue moving on. But the guy adjourned the meeting. And this is just not me complaining or anything like that, just putting the information out there so people knows what happened, because these meetings are public for people to come and see. And so we're asking, just some simple cost saving measures that are put in to try to meet, these budget constraints that we're having. Like I said, we're losing that $4.2 million coming up here soon. And we had the property tax caps that have been passed down there, and it's cutting into the money that we're getting. So we have to look at some things. In the past, we've never really had to do this. As I stated in my proposal or my write-up, at some point, I remember in 2014, we were getting as much as $26 million that came from the riverboat. Right now, it's down in the neighborhood of $8 or $9 million. So those dollars are spread amongst other places. So past negotiations weren't really negotiations, because someone could say, well, just cover it with riverboat. And now we don't have that option anymore. So we're asking for things like go ahead and pay after somebody retires, to be able to have them pay 50% of their insurance costs. Right now, the city pays 2/3, they pay 1/3. All we're asking for is a 50-50 split and things of that. So these are some of the things that you're not agreeing on. And I understand that. It is very difficult when something is put into a contract for it to come out. I understand that. But we are in a situation where we have to try to find things that have to be brought back were bargained, negotiated in order to make those things happen. The attorney, and like I said, it was a public meeting, sat there and said he wanted 4%, and that we should find the dollars elsewhere in our budget to cover 4%. And we kept asking him, are you saying take it from somewhere else? He kept saying, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But he kept saying, you need to find it. You need to prioritize your police and fire. And I just point back to the amount of the raises that we gave when we had the availability to do so, that we did look out for our police and fire. 14% raises, 11.33% police, 14% that year for fire, and then 13.42% in 1 year for police and 13.26 for fire. So we have been, trying to do things to take care of our police and fire. And there's a bunch of other benefits out there that I didn't want to talk about because they haven't been put into the negotiation, but, because I didn't want to start this back and forth and yelling and screaming about it, to point out some of the things that they have that the rest of the city employees don't. If it comes to that, next time I may have to do that. But I'm just trying to give the public a little bit of information as to how these negotiations are going. And we are trying to do this in good faith with the money that we have. And I've always said, every time I've been on this committee, that we will try to give you as much as we possibly can. And I've always said, without breaking the city and without breaking other city departments' budgets. So, like I said, it's still continuing to move forward. We still have time to do some things, and we'll see what happens from there.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. Are there any other comments from the council? If there are none, this will be held over for second reading. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, establishing the salaries for the Michigan City Police Department for the calendar year 2026. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman.
And honestly, my stance and my comments are the same as we just went over in regards to the fire, which applies for the police as well. So I will move forward to open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Chris Bartek. I do not reside in city, but I spend an awful lot of time at 1201 East Michigan Boulevard. Would it be okay to make a brief statement?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Chris Bartek, and I'm an officer with the Michigan City Police Department. I'm also a member of the Wage Committee of the Fraternal Order of Police, Dunes Lodge number 75. I'm here tonight as a member of the FOP Wage Committee to speak to the council and the public as a whole about some of the difficulties the Wage Committee has experienced this year when trying to communicate with the city. Tonight's statement will be brief. It will not delve into the finer points of concern and discuss specific numbers and percentage points. Rather, it's aimed at providing the public a general understanding of the city's current relationship with its police officers. To start off, for those who are unaware, there exists a contract between the Fraternal Order of Police, Dunes Lodge number 75, and the Civil City of Michigan City, Indiana. The current contract went into effect January 1st, 2025, and it remains in effect until expiration on December 31st, 2025. What follows is a direct quote from the preamble of that contract. It is mutually agreed that either party to this contract may notify the other in writing of their intention to open negotiations prior to April 1 of the year in which this contract expires, and that the first negotiation meeting between the parties is to be held prior to April 15 of that same year. On March 31st, the FOP Wage Committee notified the city of its intention to open negotiations for a 2026 collective bargaining agreement. Mr. Harris, an attorney for the Michigan City Common Council, provided us with the following response. Please be advised that I am writing to you on behalf of my client, the Michigan City Common Council, and its Labor Relations Committee. I am in receipt of your correspondence to the committee dated March 31st, 2025, wherein you requested to open negotiations for the 2026 collective bargaining agreement. While your eagerness to begin negotiations is understandable, Neither the council nor the administration can proceed with negotiations in good faith at this time. The current state legislative session could result in the passage of legislation that will financially impact our city. Also, it is simply too early to begin making projections for the 2026 budget. Any negotiations that would take place now would be wildly speculative and would prove to be non-beneficial for both the city and the union. I would suggest that we revisit this issue in mid to late summer so that we can establish a negotiation schedule that will lead into the budget season. While the city's response was written with a respectful tone, it was nevertheless a blatant disregard for the schedule set forth in our contract. And what could we, as the FOP, as the wage committee, as police officers, do in response? We communicated with the city per our contract, and the city responded by politely telling us that they no longer respect the contract that they agreed to, and they weren't going to honor it. What recourse did we have? The FOP doesn't have a fund set aside that we can use to hire an attorney to take civil action against the city for being in breach of contract. And by the nature of working in emergency services, we don't have the opportunity to strike. So we did what we do best. We continued to serve. And when late summer came, we once again communicated with the city about our desire to begin negotiations. That was in the middle of August. And what was the city's response? You didn't sit down with us in person for our first negotiation meeting until October 30th.
Officer Bartek, with
Yes,
all
ma'am.
due respect, your allotted time has passed.
I have but one paragraph left, if I may, ma'am.
If I do, that I will have to allow that for everybody else.
So we're really going to pass the buck, and we're
No,
just not going to let this finish.
It's not, I'm not debating our set, and before we opened up, I indicated public comments are 3 minutes.
Excellent. So you don't want to hear the rest of it.
No, but if you would, I would request and ask that you would provide that and send that via email to the council.
Certainly, but what good is it going to do if the public doesn't get to hear it now?
You can send it to the clerk's office and it will get filed and it is public.
Read it, because I'll read it.
Yeah.
I'll read it.
Gladly.
Finish. Because guess what? Listen, I'm Union 2. My name's Stephen
With
Albano.
all due respect, that tone is not necessary.
All right, I'll keep it calm.
And that is fine. You're more than welcome to finish it.
All right. Where'd you leave off that, officer?
Right at the beginning of this one right here.
Okay. You didn't sit down with us in person for our first negotiation meeting until
Excuse me, I'm sorry, could you please state your name and
My name is Stephen Albano. My residence is 2924 Cleveland Ave, Michigan City. And you imagine our surprise when during our first meeting you informed us that 2026 budget has already been decided. The budget had been formulated makes sense given how late in the year it was, but how it doesn't make sense and you refused to negotiate with the city's police officers for 6.5 months. 6.5 months? Wow. All right. And for that 6.5 months, you had to know that you were in violation of our contract. Wow, if you're in violation of my contract, I don't have a strike clause. Guess what? I'm going on strike. Okay, because guess what? I want to get paid. Just like these guys. All right? They're on the line every day. Okay? They can't just not show up for work. Me, guess what? I'll be on the picket line. I might only get $500 a week, but guess what? I'm striking because I want to get the deal that I want to get. I can say with certainty that you were willing to do that. You were willing to treat us that way. I can only speculate. You did that because you thought you could. You thought you could violate our contract for reasons I mentioned earlier. We wouldn't be able to do much, if anything, about it. Well, we are here tonight to try to do something about it. We hope after tonight the public better understands some challenges and difficulties to police officers that have faced this year, not just only in our community, but with the employer, the city itself, and the firefighters that also have to be involved. Police and fire departments thank the members of this community for their unyielding support over the years. It is not going unnoticed. We appreciate you all, and we hope you will stand with us again as we need your support more now than ever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. Scott Melland, 200 Kenwood Place. I'm literally the only member of the public that attended those labor meetings. I sat through all of it. I hate seeing the animosity
witnessed here between the council and the police and fire. I don't have an answer. I understand a little bit about the budget. You penciled in 2% across the board. That's what was penciled in for these men and women too, before negotiations took place. I don't know what the holdup is with the police contract. If I understand the fire, it's about retiree health benefits. I have a couple questions about that. There's going to be some numbers here. So we're asking retirees to go from 33 1/3 of their benefit to 50%. That's a 16 2/3% increase, but that's a 50% increase to them. 16 2/3 is half of 33 1/3. So it's a 50% increase to them. But my question is, how many retirees are actually affected by this? After 65 years old, shouldn't Medicare be on the table? And I don't understand. Maybe Medicare is not available for public sector union workers. I don't know. But we all value our emergency services, our police and our fire. And I know if we could, we would pay them more, as witnessed by those previous raises that made up for deficiencies that they had suffered up to that point, as we all know. But if we're this close, because they did agree to the 2%, if the hangup is over this small budgetary item, good negotiators should be able to cross that hurdle on both sides. I understand they feel quite disrespected by the delays in contract negotiations, and you've acknowledged that to your credit. But we're so close. Let's not get hung up by, I don't know how many members are affected by 20 people, 30 people over a minor amount. We're close, folks, and this is for both sides. Let's try to close the gap, because you're important to us and we want you to feel respected, our police and fire. Thank you.
Thank you. This will be the last call on public comment.
Chris Abutis, 161 Concord, Michigan City Firefighters Local 475. I don't have another letter. I just want to answer a couple things. I went through my phone, found the memo notices stating the times of the meetings. So whether they were adjourned early or not by our attorney, you were still only giving us an hour for both meetings. Can't deny that. And then along with what Mr. Mellon had said, we have asked now twice, or at least the police have asked, how many retirees are on the retiree insurance for police and fire, and we have been given no answer. We've been told that it is a total of 72 throughout the whole city, but when asked for specific numbers, we are given nothing. Along with that, retirees do at 65, they do go on Medicaid, Medicare, whatever it is. So we ask specific questions, we want answers, and it's police and fire are getting nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. That will be the last public comment at this time. Public comments are now closed on this ordinance. Are there any comments from the council? Are there any comments from the council? Any comments from the council? If there are none, this ordinance will be held over for second reading. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund for payment of remaining salaries and benefits of police and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Mr. Dabney.
And I would like to indicate this is a decrease from the general fund number 1101 unappropriated balance of $300,000 to increase account number 1101.2014.11.013, $100,000 fire department salary and wages increase account number 1101.202.411.013, $200,000. This was advertised in the Herald Argus Dispatch, November 19, 2025. This is now a formal public hearing. Hearing will be held. Formal public comments are now open. Do the sponsors have anything like to speak? We do not. I will open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
All right, Chief Barrett Taylor, I want to make sure I'm understanding what we're looking at here, because I know watching the last council meeting, I was unable to be here. I had family commitments that I could not break. And I know I emailed all of you. Is this the same issue with the overtime and so on and so forth? Is that what we're talking about? Because I know
Yes, it is.
Mr. Prespolinski, they wanted questions, they wanted answers from the police and fire. And I was willing to give those before tonight. So that's why I'm here. So if you guys got questions, I got answers. I'm ready. I have it all right here.
Well, before I can bring it to the council, we have to finish.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was.
Yes, you're correct.
We're on the same, because I see it's on here twice. Is it the same thing or is that different accounts? Because on the next page there's another one.
That's a different.
Is it a different one?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So, and again, if we can convert back to this is a public hearing, open up for public comments.
That would be him.
Are there any other public comments? Any other public comments on this ordinance on second reading? If there are none, public comments are now closed. Comments by the council. Councilman Prespolinski.
Yeah, what my comment was, Chief, and this is for the police department also. It wasn't so much about this particular ordinance or the overtime that you've ran up, so much so far this year, and why we're making this change, this change here, but that as we move forward, say in the month of December, at the end of the month, when you give your monthly report, add in there your overtime that you've worked for the month. Yeah, and I could talk to Mary Lynn on a baseline of what we really want to capture. I mean, I don't want to have overtime for $300. That's
right.
I'm looking at a baseline of maybe, I don't know, 5,000. I'll speak to Mary Lynn, but it's just so the council has an idea of how much overtime we're spending in the fire department, police department, because I think those are the big spenders of overtime. Yeah, and I know there's a need for it. We just don't do it to do it, but just so the council has an idea. So at the end of the year, come December, we have this big amount of money sitting in front of us, and we're saying, well, why do we have to spend $300,000 on overtime, for the year? And we got an explanation from the mayor, and she sent a letter as far as how she tried to, cut back. I think it was last year, and now this year it's coming to where, we actually do have to allocate in budget for so much overtime. So that's the reason I was asking for it.
Okay.
Not try to find any fault with anybody.
No, I understand the way we operate is a little different than what the normal city would. And I know Ms. Moldenauer had questions about, hey, we hired all these people. That should have cut down on overtime. But the problem is, we've had a rough year, so to speak. It's kind of been an extraordinary year. When we do hire, they're useless to us. When it gets right down to it, they're useless to us for a while. Like we hired a guy. He was here tonight. His start date was May 19th. He has nothing, no certifications, no EMT, nothing. He's essentially useless to us. But there comes a point where we need to use him. So we do put him on the truck, and it took about 5 weeks. We finally got him on a shift, put him on a truck. But now he's gone to go to the academy. And then after that, he's going to have to do EMT. So when it comes down to it, when we lose somebody, when we have somebody retire, they got to come in. It'll take approximately 2.5 months from the time they come in and sign their letter of intent, so to speak, for them to actually be hired and they can start their first day. It's usually about 2.5 to 3 months. And then even then, they still have to go to the academy. That's time consuming. So we're like I said, I got numbers here. So if anybody had wanted those, I would have been more than glad to go over those with you. But each shift has run short, on average, 2 people per year or for the year. We got a couple shifts that have gone 3 short. It's just one of those things, but we still have to schedule, people still get vacation, and then we can't control the call offs. People still call off sick. So we're doing the best we can. A lot of it is honestly just out of our control. But if anybody ever has a question with why, and I know I was looking at the numbers, and there was a couple months here, but I can show why that was that way, right? So if anybody ever has a question or concern, please feel free to contact me. I'll sit down with you. I'll meet you, whatever, and put it out there, because a lot of this is actually out of our control right now. We do have a new guy coming in today, science paperwork. We're going to get him going. And that should give us a full roster. But then again, he's still going to have to go to the academy. We got 4 people in the academy now. We still have we got 2 individuals off on injuries. So I mean, we're down some people, even though we have it on the numbers. We can't use them right now. So if you got any other questions for me or anything like that, feel free,
Councilman,
ask away.
and I have one when you're done.
Sure.
All right. And this is how this all works and how this is calculated.
Right.
What happened here? Mayor sent out a letter to all of the council members saying, and I gave the example in numbers the last time, but what she was doing, where she's trying to do, is set baseline dollar amounts of overtime for both police and fire. So let's just use round numbers. If she had $1 million in that line item, she could just appropriate 500.
Sure.
Right. And if you guys don't go over the 500, we don't have to touch that other 5 that's out there.
Right.
But it's not like we're reaching into Riverboat or some other place to cover this. This is money that was already out there in the budget. So let's just say she set it at 500, but now you come back and you've used 600. Now we have to do an appropriation from that line item that was already dedicated for overtime just to cover what's happening here. And that's all it is.
Okay.
It's not like you run over budget and we're having to appropriate money to cover this.
Well, watching the last meeting, I just figured maybe you guys have wanted, you all have wanted some kind of a explanation, like, hey, what is going on? Because like I said, she had mentioned about the scheduling and so on and so forth, and I'll be more than glad. Like I said, I'll sit down and go over that with you too. I understand what the mayor was doing. I understand I do get that. But I was here to explain if anybody needed an explanation. That was my main goal, was to clarify some things if anybody needed it.
Yeah, and that was talked about with the mayor in the budget meetings that she was having all last year leading up to all of this, that she may come back for additional appropriation of how she was appropriating dollars. And like I said, it's not coming from a new source. It's already budgeted. But she said, well, if you only use 500, then we don't have to appropriate the whole $1 million.
Very good.
And so now she's just appropriating more money from that line item. So it's not that big of a deal. You didn't run over or go way over some budget item, and then we're having to cover that, like I said, through Riverboat or something like that.
Cool.
So
thank you.
I think it's being read like it's almost like a blame thing, but that's not. We just never done it like this. We had never had a mayor do it like this before. It's new. It sounds out of whack, but there's nothing.
I just want to make sure we were doing right.
Yes, you're doing right. There's nothing bad about these 2 ordinances.
All right.
I'll go last. Councilman Beardry, and then Councilwoman Moldenauer.
I don't know. Brian said much of what I wanted to say, but I think this could be confusing to the public, because we just talked about salaries for 2026. This has nothing to do with 2026 salaries.
No.
This has to do with paying police and fire for overtime that they worked this year. And the problem was the mayor anticipated overtime at a certain amount, and you've gone over. So that money that she set aside was in the lit fund, which we have now but won't have next year, and in the general fund. So you've gone above what she thought you'd spend for overtime, but it's still in that unappropriated fund. So we can take out of that. And that's what these do. One of them takes it out of the general fund. The other takes it out of the lit fund. So it's money that was sitting there that we could use all along if you went over. And you did, so we're gonna do it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, no,
You didn't.
I know we've done it before,
You didn't do anything wrong.
but I just want to make sure, because I figured somebody had some questions. I just wanted to answer questions if you had.
No, I'm fine with both of these, and I think we ought to pass them both in a heartbeat.
Thank you.
Because you've already worked the hours. You need to be paid for them.
Councilwoman Maldonado.
Yeah, I want to go on record that I really appreciate the services of everybody that's part of the fire and police departments. And in no way was I even trying to indicate that there was something that was out of whack here, okay? But my first year on the council, when that budget was passed, I sort of heard that overtime should be going down since we have the numbers now, okay?
Right.
So I really appreciate your explanation of when people retire or transfer to other cities, that you have a vacancy there and there is a training period before they are able to, work full time. So I totally get that. So thank you for coming here today and explaining that. My eyes have been open and I'm enlightened. So thank you.
Yeah, no, we even try to get ahead of it sometimes too, to cut down that length of time. And we've even hired a couple of people early, so that way, by the time they get through the process, it's seamless. The person's retiring, and there might be about a week or two overlap. Well, then we ended up having a guy retire. We got our numbers. We had a guy retire, and then another guy resign, and people off on it. It's just been one of those years where things have gotten kind of ball got rolling, and it just kept going.
Just two things. One is, and I'm just going to concur with Councilman Beatrice indicated, and just as a reminder, when we did and approved the 2025 budget, as we led up to that, we had workshops, we had public comments where the mayor has come forth and addressed the community, the city, the police, and the fire that indicated we cut a $6.3 million budget for 2025. It was stated that we're going to have to do this. We knew, or we assumed, that at some point we were going to have to do these additional appropriations at the end of the year. I do not understand why everyone is in shock in doing this. It just behooves me. But I just wanted to indicate that. And the last thing is, you mentioned, Chief Taylor, that you do stats, you get the numbers, you get all of that, and you just mentioned retirees. So you have that information of how many, would you not, that would be forthcoming for retirement?
Oh, you mean that would be coming?
That may be coming up for retirement.
So here's the thing. Yes, and man, I hate the answer. Like, it's good. It's a yes and no. Because if they can get in the drop, they could sign their drop paperwork, but they don't have to tell us.
Right.
They don't have to tell us anything. They could say, hey, I'm retiring tomorrow.
Understand. And I'm just saying that because that was a question asked. Because if you also have that information, any of your officers or anyone within the
usually, yes, we know.
With your union, they could ask that information as well.
Yeah, usually we do know because they're going to let us know. But I said, if somebody didn't want to let you know, we're not going to know till that. Hey, you're leaving tomorrow. And then you got those people that will resign. We've had a couple resignations. So it happens. But for the most part, yes, probably 99% of the time, we know ahead of time when somebody is retiring. So we can gear up for that. Anything else?
Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yeah, just for clarification, Chief, is all I'm looking for on your monthly report is your total amount of overtime hours worked for the month, and an explanation of why the overtime had to be worked.
That's cool. We can take care of that. We'll have that for you.
That's all I'm looking for.
So month to month, like I would
month to month. When you come here and give your report, just have how much overtime you work. That way we can keep a running total if the council's worried about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got no problem with that. We'll get that for you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That is all.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Again, Steve Parker, Chief of Police, Michigan City Police Department. Again, I think like Chief Taylor said, right, I think everybody's under the understanding that there's going to be those overtime expenses month to month that are just out of our control, right? And some of those for us include roll call pay, K-9 maintenance, OPO, which Operation Pullover, which are state funded grants, which we fund those through our overtime, which is for us is at a double time rate. But then those are reimbursements, right? That just come back to the general fund. So those are things that we're funding the money. Also with HIDA reimbursements. So with our LaPorte County Drug Task Force, again, just year to date, we're at $63,166.76 just in 2025 with HIDA reimbursements, right? So those are monies that, again, we front the overtime for, and then the city is reimbursed through the general fund. So again, there's just some of those things, obviously call outs, special investigations. I think just because it is important that we are conscious spending as well, right? So I think I just wanted to note some of our numbers from the last 3 years, just to show that we are conscious about it and working on it. 2023, we spent $928,664 in overtime, for an average pay period of $38,694.33. In 2024, we spent $865,308.92 in overtime. And then again, that was per pay was $36,054.54. And then year to date in 2025, we're at $575,905.79. So I think you can see that drastic decrease in that stuff, right? So $100,000 basically from 23 to 24. And then again, with the obviously additional appropriation, if approved, would essentially put us at 575, which is still $110,000 less than last year. So, you know, we are being mindful of it, and obviously it's a continuous effort on our part to help reduce some of those costs. So hopefully we can use some of that funding elsewhere, right, to hopefully increase some of our pay salaries and other benefits. So,
thank you.
All right.
Councilman Beatrice.
I'd like to, given that I think we all have a pretty good understanding of what these two ordinances are tonight, in order to avoid 2 weeks from now going through the same stuff all over again and trying to get everybody to understand what's going on. And given the fact that the work has already been done and this is the money to pay for it, I'd like to move to third reading on this ordinance tonight.
Second.
Have a motion for third reading by Mr. Beatrice and second by Dr. Cora. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. And Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Madam Clerk, could you please read ordinance on third reading?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation of the general fund for payment of remaining salaries and benefits of the police and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Mr. Dabney.
Does sponsors have any comments? There are none. I'll open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance on third reading? Any public comments? Are there any public comments on third reading? If there are no other public comments are now closed. Comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Support.
I have a motion by Councilman Prespolinski and a second by Councilman Nelson. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Prespolinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
And Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
And this ordinance has passed. Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you would please read our next ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Public Safety Lit Fund for payment of remaining salaries and benefits of the police and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Mr. Dabney.
I would just indicate again, this is a decrease from the Public Safety Lit Fund number 2240 unappropriated balance, $300,000 to increase account number 2240.201.411.013, $100,000 fire department salary and wages increase. Account number 2240.202.411.013, $200,000 police department salaries and wages. This was advertised in the Herald Dispatch November 19, 2025. This is a formal public hearing. Public hearing will be held December 2nd, 2025. Public hearing is now open. Are there any comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? If there are none, public hearings are now closed. Any comments from the council?
Motion to approve. Second.
Yeah.
No, it's not. This is on second. No, we did not.
Oh.
No, we did not. I can entertain a motion.
Yeah.
Making the
I would
motion.
like to make a motion to waive the rules and do second and third reading in tonight's meeting.
May I entertain a second?
Second.
We have a motion to entertain to do this on third reading by Councilman Dabney and a second by Councilman Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Okay, Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
And Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you would please read this ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Public Safety Lit Fund for payment of remaining salaries and benefits of the police and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Mr. Dabney.
Does the sponsors have any comments? I have none. I will open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Sorry, board, Scott Melantur, Kent Place. I'm really confused now. Isn't this the same as what we just did second and third reading on?
No,
No. So,
different fund from the
is it,
like safety lit fund for payment
So,
of the remaining.
are we doing a total of 500,000? I mean, what's the total between these two things? Oh, so what we did second and third reading on previously was 300,000 and 100,000. So we just did 400,000 on second and third reading. And now we're doing another 300,000. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
From two separate funds to do these things.
Yes.
Thank you. I thank you for answering. It's confusing. Thank you. But I'll point out, we still cut the budget by over $5 million. This is just adding money back that we cut too hard, and we're still ahead of where we were the previous year. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, on public comments, are there any other public comments on this ordinance on third reading? Are there any other public comments on this ordinance on third reading? If there are none, public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Support.
You have a motion by Councilman Preselinski and a second by Councilman Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
And Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, and this ordinance has passed. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on second reading, please, by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation of the budget of the Board of Works Department of the General Fund for utility expenses. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Dr. Cora.
Does the sponsors have any comments?
This is just another example of what we just approved a moment ago. That when the mayor put the budget together, she anticipated how much would be needed for the border work telephone and utility street lighting. She missed her estimate. It cost more, but there's money available in the unappropriated balance for that fund. So we're taking money out of the unappropriated balance and spending it for border work, utility, street lighting, and border work telephone.
I will read this as decrease, as it stated, decrease general fund 1101 unappropriated balance, $120,000, increase account number 1101.105.432.040, $20,000. Border work telephone, increase account number 1101.105.435.060, $100,000. Border work utility street lighting. This was advertised in the Herald Dispatch November 19, 2025. This is now the formal public hearing will be held. Public hearing is now opened. Are there any comments from the public? Are there any comments from the public? Are there any comments from the public? If there are none, public hearing is now closed. Any comments from the council?
I'm just saying the third tonight.
Are there any comments from the council? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules and do second and third reading on this ordinance tonight.
Second.
May I, we have a motion by Councilman Dabney to do third reading, and we have a second by Councilman Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee? Aye. Ms. Moldenar?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
And Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Madam Clerk, if you would please, ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Board of Public Works Department of the General Fund for utility expenses, and this is introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Dr. Ford.
Does the sponsors have any comments they would like to make? There are none. I will open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance on third reading? Any comments from the public on this ordinance on third reading? This will be the last call for public comment on this ordinance on third reading. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Dabney?
Motion to approve.
Support.
We have a motion by Councilman Dabney and a second by Councilman Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee? Aye. Ms. Moldenar?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
And Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay, this ordinance has passed. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund for payment of medical claims. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Dr. Cora.
And does the sponsors have any comment?
Yeah, Madam President, this is because of unanticipated healthcare expenses, and this appropriation is to cover that cost.
Okay. This is also the decrease the general fund number 1101 unappropriated balance of $500,000, increase account number 1101.105.413.005, $500,000 employees benefit shared health insurance. This is advertised in the Herald Dispatch November 19th, 2025. This is a formal public hearing, will be held December 2nd, 2025. Public hearing is now open on this ordinance. Are there any comments?
Hi, Mary Lou Wall, City Controller. I just want to make it, I know there's been so much discussion on medical costs and retiree paying, and just this is, if you look, we're asking, we are now having to ask for an additional appropriation for our medical costs. The administration, from my opinion, is that we are trying to manage our medical costs. This is why we first, in discussions, talked about spousal carve-outs for our medical. If you work, and if you have anybody's got anyone that works in other industries and corporations, this is a very common practice. If your partner or your spouse has insurance by his or her employer, they need to take their insurance with their employer and not be on the other spouses. That's just very common. I know this was taken off the table, but this was also something we were going to have for all city employees, not just police and fire. We're just trying to manage the costs. The same thing with retiree insurance. This was going to be a policy that was going to be for all city employees. And I understand that a 2% raise isn't going to cover some of these additional premiums that we're all going to have to pay. We get that. But just so that everyone knows, these are policies that we're going to put in place for all city employees, because our medical costs are we're just trying to better manage them. So.
Are there any other comments from the public on this ordinance? Are there any other comments on this ordinance? If there are none, public hearing is now closed. Comments from the council, Councilman Beatrice.
The scary thing about this ordinance is that on the previous ordinances we looked at unappropriated balances that were up here, and we looked at increasing expenses that climbed up to here, but we still had a balance in an unappropriated fund. If you look at this ordinance, it's asking for $500,000, and we only have $500,000 in unappropriated balance. So there's no more money left in unappropriated balances to cover increases in medical claims, which underscores how important the message from Mary Lynn was. We have no other place to take money now, and this was dated November 12th. This was filed November 12th. What happened between November 12th and the end of this year is, I'm sure we're going to have medical claims, additional medical claims, and how are we going to pay for that when our unappropriated balances are zero? We've got to have co-pays that go up on behalf of the employees, that we're going to have to pay more for our coverage, period.
Are there any other comments from the council? Are there any other comments from the council? If there are no comments from the council, this will be held over for Councilman Dabney.
Yes, I would like to waive the rules and have this ordinance on third reading tonight as well. Make a motion to do such.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Dabney and a second by Dr. Cora. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Maldonado?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
And Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Madam Clerk, if you would, ordinance on third reading, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund for payment of medical claims. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Dr. Cora.
And does the sponsors have any comments on this ordinance? There are none. I'll open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Sorry, everyone. Scott Melantura, Kevin Place. I would ask the controller what the remaining unappropriated balance is, because I think there might be a slight misunderstanding. If we zero it out on this one right now, theoretically, based on what Mr. Beatrice just said, there wouldn't be any money unappropriated for the next one. So I think there must be more unappropriated balance. So I think we're just have a little misunderstanding there that I think we should have clarified for all our benefits.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Mary Lynn Wall, controller. Yes, and you're right. There is a larger. We're not zeroing out the enterprise. We have to always make sure. This is why I think I said on the last council meeting is that because we can't. This is why we need to have an adequate cash balance in the general fund to be able to appropriate these monies. Right off the top of my head, I don't know what the unappropriated balance is. I believe it's still within our range of trying to keep at least 10% of our current budget in the unappropriated. So we're not really dipping into, into dangerous reserves and stuff. We do have an adequate cash reserve in our general fund to make all these additional appropriations. And quite honestly, the DLGF would not allow us to do this. They would not allow us to dip into funds that aren't there. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the last call for public comment. Last call for public comment. Public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion on the table by Councilman Prince-Belinsky. May I entertain a second?
Second.
We have a second by Dr. Kaur. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
and that's it. We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you. That ordinance has passed. Our next ordinance, Madam Clerk, on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Personnel Department of the General Fund for salaries and wages, and this is also introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Dr. Cora.
Do the sponsors would like to make any comment?
I think this has a fairly simple explanation. We increased the number of employees in this department, in the personnel department this year, and that was not in the initial budget. So we need to increase this we have to take from the general fund unappropriated balance, which is where the money will come from that Scott mentioned, and put it in the human resources salary category.
I would like to open this up for public comments. Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Any public comments on this ordinance? If there are no public comments, I will close public comments at this time. Any comments from the council? Councilman Prince-Belinsky.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I'd like to have third reading on this ordinance this evening.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Prince-Belinsky. Was that second, Councilman Nelson?
Yeah.
Councilman Nelson. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Ms. Moldenauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
and Ms. Lee.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, this ordinance on third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Personnel Department of the General Fund for salaries and wages, and this is introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Dr. Cora.
And do the sponsors have any comments? There are none. I will open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance on third reading? Any public comments on this ordinance on third reading? Any public comments on this ordinance on third reading? If there are no public comments are now closed. Comments from the council.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilman Beatrice.
Support.
I have a second by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we are
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the rainy day fund for payment of demolition of Millennium Plaza phone. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Does the sponsor would like to make any comment?
I think we explained this and that this one actually was coming out of the rainy day fund, and we had an explanation that we did not take it out of the actual park department budget because we could possibly take them too low coming up on the end of the year, where then they create negative balances in their accounts, and then we'd be moving money back into the park department because we cannot turn in any negative balances. So the mayor and the controller's office came together and said it'd be best to take this out of the rainy day fund. So that's why we're moving money out of the rainy day fund for this.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I did want to stress, because the dollar amount for the demolition of the fountain, we're asking for $160,000, and just had, while I was talking, I would imagine that Shannon Easton must have been watching us because there was a message waiting for me, in order to repair and get that fountain back up and running. The cost was about $450,000. So this is why the park department made the decision to go ahead with $160,000 and demolished it rather than pay $450,000 to get it back up and running.
Thank you. And this was advertised in the Herald Dispatch, November 19th, 2025. This is a formal public hearing, will be held December 2nd, 2025. Public hearing is now opened. Are there any public comments on this ordinance?
Maryland Wall Controller's Office. Just want to make sure. I know there were public comments worrying about the memorial bricks that were out there. The bricks are going to be they're going to be maintained and still going to be. They're going to stay. Plus, I think it was mentioned that it might even be more spots for some additional bricks to be purchased. So bricks will still be there.
Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? If there are none, public hearing is now closed. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, Madam
Chris Belinsky.
Yeah, Madam President, I'd like to have third reading on this tonight.
May I entertain a second?
Support.
We have a second by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Belinsky.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
And Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Madam Clerk, or would you please read ordinance on third reading, please?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the rainy day fund and payment of demolition of the Millennium Plaza fountain. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
Does the sponsor have any comments? There are none. I will open this up for public comments. Public comments are now open. Are there any comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? If there are none, public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council?
Motion to approve.
Support.
We have a motion by Councilman Chris Belinsky and a second by Councilman Dabney. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
And Mr. Belinsky.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
And this ordinance has passed. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, creating section 78-7 in the Michigan City Municipal Code to prohibit smoking within 20 feet from the public entranceway of Michigan City government buildings. And this is introduced by Mr. Belinsky, Dr. Cora, Mr. Coulter, and Mr. Beatrice. And this was tabled at the October 7th, 2025 council meeting until this evening.
And does any of the sponsors have any comments? Councilman Coulter?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to table this until the first meeting in January. I just haven't been able to get all the details straight.
May I entertain a second?
Second.
There was a second by Dr. Cora. For this to be tabled until first meeting of January of 2026.
And that was second by Dr. Cora?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are we ready?
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
And Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Madam Clerk, our ordinance, would you please read ordinance on third reading by title only?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, ratifying and reaffirming certain findings, determinations, and designations in ordinance number 4771 regarding the establishment of an economic improvement district and authorizing and approving other actions with respect thereto. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman. And this was also tabled at the November 18th council meeting until this evening.
And on this ordinance, I would request that this, well, can I air this to Attorney Snow, this one to be tabled? Or this one is something that because I'm getting this one and the first one on that petition. We can move.
This is a proposed ordinance, so you can always move to table it. This ordinance contains, go ahead.
So we can go ahead and vote on this one this evening. We're still waiting on.
So this ordinance addresses a separate legal issue than the petition, but they're very closely related. They're two separate things, but they're very closely intertwined. So I think that the sentiment that Mr. Prisbalinski is and some others are expressing is that
until we get
a report on the merits of the petition, we might want to leave this one alone.
I would entertain a motion to have this tabled to the next council meeting.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Dabney, second by Dr. Cora. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Moldenauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
And Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we are now under new business. Madam Clerk, if you would, please.
A vote on the 2020, to let you know information, 2026 Common Council Board appointment expiration dates.
If you would read that, please.
Sure. Note section 2-66A, appointments to committees and boards before the final meeting of the council in the calendar year. The clerk shall produce the council a schedule of positions on various boards and commissions to which the council makes appointments, which would become open the next calendar year, and the dates those positions will become open.
And with that being said, so for the Labor Relations Committee, we currently had Councilman Dabney as chair, Councilman Prisbalinski, and Councilman Beatrice. Councilman Beatrice had to recuse due to conflict, and I replaced Councilman Beatrice. So I would like to update the 2025 Council Committee assignment master's list, indicating that I have been added in replace of Mr. Beatrice. Councilman Beatrice, you had a comment?
I just want to say that I recused myself from this committee because my son is lieutenant in the fire department. So I could not sit on this committee and make decisions on salaries when my son was a member of the fire department.
Thank you for elaborating on that, Councilman Beatrice. Madam Clerk, on unfinished business?
Nominations. The council has 2 appointments to the Redevelopment Commission, incumbents Tracy Tillman and Sherry Wilson, expiring 12/31/25. Applicants received LaSherry Wilson, Nick Pollock, Danny Armstrong, Scott Mellon. Hold on, next page. Violet Worth, Cheryl Krasinski, Kamisha Williams, Shauna Hill, Michael Benson, Tracy Tillman, and Dave Bealiff.
So before we open up nominations, Councilman Nelson has a question.
Are we selecting 2 appointments if one is the liaison? So we're picking one then?
So the council has to appoint 2.
So one being
One will be from this board,
and then
and the other,
Okay.
yes.
I didn't know we select.
Attorneys know you.
I think so. Your board appointments are people who actually, hopefully I'm not saying something that's unnecessary, but your board appointments are people who actually sit on the redevelopment commission. Your liaison is a person from the council whose designated job it is to go back and forth and report on what the commission's doing. So I think you get your 2 appointments and that the liaison could double because it would be convenient, but I think you still have to make 2 appointments.
Excuse me.
I was just unfamiliar with that liaison, that's all.
Point of order? Yes.
In this case, the council liaison is a voting member.
Correct. That is correct.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So your liaison can double as a member?
No, no. I hear what we could, but we don't do it in that manner.
Okay.
We just do it as a voting member.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Either way, you're still making 2 appointments.
Yes.
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 And then you still have a liaison that's voting.
So one of the point of order. Is a point of order.
Let's say
Point of order.
Councilman Nelson.
So one of my votes have to be from somebody with city council then. Okay. But nobody's name is on here except for
Mine?
yours.
I'm not the one.
So that's
But you have to vote still.
okay.
I have to still be nominated.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And no, for voting member. We're not doing a liaison. We're only appointing a voting member. And the other one is going to be someone from the public.
And then the liaison is still gonna.
No, we don't have a liaison on that board.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Madam
So
President?
it's Councilman Prisbalinski.
Yeah, so I just want to maybe clarify that tonight we're just taking nominations. We're not
Yeah.
voting
That is correct.
on people on there. Yeah, I just wanted to, I think that you were going in that direction, right? Yeah. Good.
Madam President, I nominate Tracy Wilson, Tracy Tillman. Can I nominate 2 people,
Oh, come on.
or it has to be only one?
Yeah.
You need a support for the.
I'll need a support. There's a nomination for Tracy Tillman for council.
I'll support.
We have a second by
Okay.
Councilman.
There's Tracy right now, right?
Yes.
I do one at a time.
Second by Tim.
Yes.
Yeah, Madam President?
No. There's no votes tonight. We're just doing nominations. Are there any other nominations?
Like that before, and he was pick both of them if one do.
But we're gonna do
We're
this
doing
first. That was for the council, for the voting council member. Now we're gonna open this up for the others.
We're
See
making
if they're
nominations.
whoever else they're gonna nominate.
Somebody can't nominate 2 people
By whoever.
at one time.
Right.
Okay, hold on. I think so. Here's what I would suggest. You're you're taking nominations for 2 appointments.
Yes.
So receive your nominations and build your pool of nominations.
Right.
If a person's not nominated tonight, they're not going to be considered for anything next week. And then between now and next week, instead of trying to figure this out on the fly at 10 o'clock at night, let us look at your ordinance and figure out what the composition of the redevelopment commission is actually supposed to be. And I will give you a memo on that by noon tomorrow. But I don't think that affects
Nomination.
that doesn't affect who's being nominated, because if you want to nominate somebody, you're going to nominate them regardless of which spot you're trying to elect them to, right?
That is correct.
So yeah, that's where I would suggest.
Okay. So, Madam President,
Yes, sir. Council.
yeah, I'd like to nominate Dave Bila.
Madam President? Oops.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Okay, hold on. Who's second Dave Vila?
Councilman Prisbalinski
Councilman
made the
Don-
nomination.
He nominated Dave Bila.
Right.
Is there a second?
I support it.
All right.
Councilman Nelson.
I think they were ahead of me.
You made a support.
Yes, I did.
Yes. Councilwoman Moldenauer.
I nominate Cherie Wilson.
Support.
I supported him.
He supported
For Dave.
Beal.
I nominate Cherie Wilson.
Support.
You get the support.
Supported by whom? Yeah.
Come on. We still have a little bit more to go. We can get through this night. Come on.
Yeah.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Nick Pollock.
Second,
I'll support that.
that was Tim.
Yep.
All right.
Are there any other nominations?
I'm getting nominated.
Are there any other nominations? This is last call for nominations for the Redevelopment Commission. Last call. Nominations are now closed.
Okay. Can I read them back so we know?
Yes, please. Would you please,
There you
Madam
go.
Clerk?
Okay, we have Dr. Cora nominated Tracy, second by Tim. Don nominated Dave Bila, second by Joe. Dabney did Sherry, second.
No.
Yes.
Nancy.
Okay, Nancy. All right, got it. And Joe did Nick Pollock, second by Tim.
Mhm.
There you go.
I would.
I'm still.
Our next thing on our.
Yes.
That is it. I will open this up for public comment. No, this is on public comments. Public comments for the evening. Please state your name and your address, and please keep in mind and be respectful at all times in regards to your delivery and your message. And you do and are allowed your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. Bill Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. I've been working on my comedy routine. I was a very unsuccessful stand-up comedian, but I'm bringing it back. And a lot of my material I collect from the city council meetings, presentations that are being given by different people. At the last meeting, Don Prisbalinski had something to say in conclusion of that meeting regarding the decorum. Singled me out, I guess, to admonish my comments. In my opinion, he felt as though that I was disrespecting this body. But I want this body to understand that I witness this body not only sanctioning an illegal bidder, but they approved it totally. I was a part of the Community Development Corporation that died for the cable television franchise. This body sanctioned somebody getting that contract with the city who was 4 days late with their bid. That should have disqualified them. They also included in their bid for the franchise the household count of Beverly Shores, Long Beach, Trail Creek, Potawatomi Park. That should have disqualified them altogether. But yet, this city council ratified that. There's a certain amount of money that the franchise, the cable television franchise, has to pay to the city. Through our organization, had we been honored with that contract, after participating in a joint venture partnership, after 8 years, that franchise would have been ours. As a nonprofit, all of our net proceeds would have had to go back into the company, not shared by the board of directors, or it had to go into the community in some way. You've been talking about, am I up? We've been talking about money tonight quite a bit. Out of the 8 to 10 franchise owners of the cable television franchise here, they all took their net proceeds and invested them somewhere else. I'm in the process of collecting those numbers now to find out just what did Michigan City do to itself by going through that. And thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap. Are there any other public comment? Yes.
Sheree Wilson, 1030 Liberty Trail, Michigan City, Indiana. I'd just like to thank you guys for your consideration and nominating me for the Redevelopment Commission. And I'd like to also invite any of you, I emailed everyone information. If you'd like to reach out, ask me any questions, just would like to open that up to you. And I would also like to mention that I really enjoyed my time with Redevelopment Commission, so much that I even have reached out into other parts of, still related to Redevelopment Commission, but I also sit on Historic Review Board as the liaison. I also am on the revolving loan committee as part of that, and I'm also part of the review process of the river front alcohol license process. And so if you guys want to ask me any questions or anything, or any of my qualifications as far as from construction to general contracts to program management, I invite you to do so. So give me a call or give me a text and I'll reach out back. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. This is going to be the last call for public comment.
Hello, Board. Scott Melanchura coming to place. It seems there was some confusion about the nominations for the redevelopment committee. I don't believe one of those picks has to be somebody who sits on the council. I think that's a fundamental misunderstanding of the requirements. I could be wrong. We'll know when there's a memo released tomorrow. That said, I wasn't going to speak about Flock, but since it was brought up earlier tonight, I'm a little disappointed. The email that I sent everybody on November 20th wasn't strictly about the money. That's a secondary concern. Flock cameras were in the national news that day because of a report by the Associated Press, the AP, in which, amongst other things, they reported that the Border Patrol, ICE, is using the Flock system to come up with people to pull over. Takeaways from the AP report. They're not finding people that are on the hot list. They're using artificial intelligence to determine guilty behavior in their eyes. In the email I sent you 2 copies of news reports and 3 links to information. My viewpoint is more of a civil liberties viewpoint. If you ask a cop if it's a good tool, of course it is. But when you give a power to the state, of course they like it. Flock is now in federal lawsuit. There's a federal lawsuit in Virginia, and it's basically alleging that this is unwarranted mass surveillance of the population. I've suggested best practices that could be used here. We don't have to have a 30-day retention period. We don't have to share our data nationwide. We are part of that dragnet that ICE is using their algorithm to determine based on where people are traveling whether they should be stopped. Again, I'm not necessarily for or against in the way you all might think. I'm trying to bring up a larger argument that I think as city council members you should be aware of. It's more than just a tool for the police. It's a vast surveillance tool that can be used against the people. And if you want an opinion of its usefulness, asking the chief of police, you're not going to get a straight answer. If you want an alternative opinion, I suggest you get a civil liberties attorney to give you their opinion on what they think about the Flock system and the mass unwarranted surveillance of the population. If you can't understand that deeper point, then I'm sorry. You should. Thank you.
Are there public comments? Public comment?
All right, good evening. Steve Albano again from 2924 Cleveland Ave. My main reason for coming here was last couple months, everybody knows Lee's been falling, whatever the case, you know what I'm saying? And the weather's surprisingly been pretty nice, you know? But before I came here tonight, I've noticed that the city put out a status saying that they are going to put a pause on leaf cleanup. My question is, you guys or the city has had the month of October, pretty nice. Had the month of November, pretty nice weather. Why wait 2 months to pick up leaves and then all of a sudden we get a couple little snowstorms and now we're going to have a pause for leaf pickup? That's my main reason for being here. You know, if I can get out there couple days a week, do some leaves, put them out front, and you know, thankfully the garbage men have picked up the ones I have in bags, but not everybody's got theirs in bags. A lot of them are on the street blowing around, you know. So that was just my main concern for being here tonight.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dakota Euler, 718 Emma Street. I'll be real quick. Just wanted to inform the public that at the the Festival of Lights Parade, that the housewives of LaPorte County will be collecting canned goods along the route. So bring those, and they'll be walking with their carts to pick up those cans, and we'll go to families in need. Additionally, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Being a concerned citizen in my neighborhood, I noticed some trash that has been thrown out in the neighborhood. And so I called the number that was provided for trash talk. And they brought it to my attention that there was trucks that were taken from sanitary to go to leaf pickup. So they can't do garbage pickup for about 3 weeks, yet they're not doing leaf pickup because of snow. So I'm a little confused on all that. Just would appreciate it if you guys could help make sure that trash is getting picked up and not waiting for 30 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. This will be our last public comment. Yes, sir. Oh, do you?
I am John Carrington, 140 Esther Street. I know everybody wants to go home, so I just wanted to also say something about when those business owners got up and talked about the problems with the homeless people on North Franklin and stuff. You know, those were all, everybody was really nervous and afraid. I think they were very concerned. They were emotional. They really care. They really care about the homeless people too. I mean, that's the thing. It was almost like they felt like they were betraying people, and they really made themselves very vulnerable. And they went out on a limb, and they took a risk, a big risk. And then at the following meeting, the next city council meeting, people checked them and said, I'm not going to name names, but they seemed to me to criticize these same business owners for not being vigilantes and taking the law into their own hands or not doing nice things for them, that if you don't want homeless people up there, you shouldn't do nice things for them, and took them to task. And I felt it was very unfair because those business owners weren't here to respond to that. And I don't know if y'all noticed it, but the people in the audience noticed it, and it got blown up online and stuff. And since the data center debacle, there's a lot of observation going on online. Pretty much we live in the digital age. These data centers aren't operating in a vacuum. They certainly facilitate quick communication. And I want to just ask you all, when you do your nominations for your boards, to try to be mindful not to have the same people sitting on all the same boards, where a board that might benefit from a zoning change might also sit on a board that economically benefits from it, and maybe the board that wants the zoning change, and things like that. You give an appearance of, and it may be legal too, but you give an appearance of conflict of interest or self-dealing or unjust enrichment, and that gets the private sector people pretty riled up. And so I just want to ask you, when you do these things, make sure that if people are serving on multiple boards, we are a small town with a lot of boards, I get it, but that maybe they might recuse themselves from certain votes, or maybe do a memorandum of understanding or something like that. I think it might go a long way towards creating goodwill between y'all and us, and so we don't have like a bunker mentality going on. We all are on the defensive, and you feel like people are attacking you. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Last call for public comment. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council. Councilwoman Moldenauer.
I'm making an announcement regarding a public meeting that's being held. And this is in regards to Lavender Fields Holdings, LLC. This is a public meeting. It is not a hearing. And there's a difference between the two. This is an opportunity for the public to come, ask questions, get answers, but all comments will not be recorded by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. So if you do want a comment entered into what would be considered a public record, then you need to go onto IDEM's website at www.in.gov/IDEM/public-notices/. This is regarding their permit 49561, which will allow them to put in 60 diesel-powered generators. And from what I've been able to read so far, They're going to have backups also, so it could get to be as high as 71 such generators. There's no provision for any pollution control, which means that larger particulates would be flying through the air, with 2 schools within a mile of this facility, with the public golf course pretty much next door, and with homes within a 2-mile radius. All of these indicators are not looking too favorably for the health and well-being of the residents of Michigan City. So Tuesday, December 9th, 6 p.m. at the Michigan City High School in the cafeteria. You're requested to enter at main entrance door A, 8466 West Paz Road, Michigan City. I hope that as many of the citizens who are concerned about the data center and also concerned about the health and well-being of our residents will be there to express your concerns about this. Thank you.
Councilwoman, what time was that?
6 p.m. Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, 6 p.m. Michigan City High School. Enter the cafeteria at main entrance door A. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lee?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to report that there was some misinformation floating around online that the data center was hauling off contaminated soil. The report from IDEM, from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, that has come out, and all of the testing, all of the soil that is being hauled off site is clean. And they were tested at all the locations, and they did not contain TCE or anything that violates the IDEM standards. So everybody can take a deep breath of relief, because they were not hauling off contaminated soil. There's not been contaminated soil through our neighborhoods flying around. So that can be rest assured.
Dr. Cora?
Thank you, Madam President. 2 quick points. One is I just want to give a shout out to our State Senator Mike Bohacek for standing up for people with disabilities. People with disabilities need to be treated with kindness and respect and not ridiculed. I know his daughter Stephanie, and as a proud dad, I'm so grateful that he stood up for his daughter and also stood up for the people with disabilities as an elected official and as a public servant. So I publicly thank Senator Bohacek for that. The second thing is, since my last meeting, I visited Loudoun County, Virginia, which is the data center alley in the United States. It has 300 operating data centers right now and another 100 under development. And I had an opportunity to drive around, and the community is thriving. And by strange coincidence, Loudoun County, Virginia, is the richest county in the United States of America, with an average median household income of $175,000. So I think we need to look at it from the big picture perspective, especially after what we have dealt with today, trying to give raises to our employees, giving raises to our police and fire. We need to find sources of revenue to make sure that our staff are well taken care of. And so I think, I understand the concerns about health and safety. And I think if we can take a big picture perspective, address those concerns by working with these developers to make sure that the health and safety concerns are properly addressed, at the same time continue for economic development and generate more revenue sources for the city, I think we'll all be better off. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilman Dabney?
Yes, final comment. Just wanted to step back and address something that was stated. The email was read, and the email was read correctly regarding labor negotiations. I took the blame and said that maybe I could have started negotiations earlier, but this was the logic and the reasoning, just like we did last year in terms of labor negotiations. An email was written or read here from our attorney that said, at this time, we cannot enter negotiations. How did it say? Faithfully? In good faith.
Good faith.
In good faith. And I know the meaning of that letter in that email because I spoke to him before he sent it. And what he was stating by in good faith was the fact that we did not have all of the financial information that we needed to negotiate in good faith. We were waiting for more information to come to find out the numbers before we can go into a negotiation and say, okay, we can agree to certain things here, increases, decreases, whatever. We can't do that flying blind when we did not know, what we were dealing with. So these emails, just like last year when we didn't know what we had, it was the same thing this way. The letter from the mayor actually said, we're waiting, and it was another instance where we're talking about there are laws that could be passed that we hadn't even known yet, that were cutting funding and things that came down the pipe later. And we were waiting to see what would happen with these different laws. So we cannot step into a negotiation and start to talk about salary, different funding, days off that could create overtime and all of these different things if we don't know the numbers. So just as we did last year, emails were sent. And unfortunately, and like I said, I fell on the sword for this to say that we didn't get the negotiations started by the time. But we really could not negotiate in good faith without all the information. So how would we look as a committee if we committed to a 6% raise and then all of a sudden numbers come back or something comes back and say, whoa, lit is gone now. Or SB1, when did that go into effect? Was it July? I'm not certain. I don't know. But for us to step out and make commitments without having all of the numbers would have been actually irresponsible to the city and irresponsible to police and fire, because what would we have done? Had to go back and ask them for that money back? No, that would definitely be wrong. So the what I'm hearing in the animus toward us is the fact like we're doing them wrong. I'm trying to do them wrong. And that is not the case. I have to look out for the dollars that we have. And we had unforeseen circumstances that have taken dollars off the table, which means we cannot negotiate not knowing the dollars that we have. It's just plain and simple to me. I don't know why it seems very difficult to understand, but that is what Clarence meant. That our attorney Jewell meant when he said we could not operate in good faith. We did not know the numbers. So that's how that all shook out. And like I said, I fell on the sword and said I could have gotten negotiations started early. Don't know what I would have done, but I took the blame for not meeting the deadline that's in the contract. And if I happen to be on that committee next year, I will at least ask for their proposals and things that they want ahead of time, and we will meet to discuss those. So like I said, I took the blame for that, but that is the reason for, why we ended up in the spot that we did.
Councilman Chris Belinsky.
Yeah, just a couple things, and just to talk about the money position with the city and where it'll probably be coming down in the future, is that the state is going to switch over from property tax system to income tax system, and that's supposed to start, I believe, in 2 years from now. So with Michigan City being I'm going to say somewhat of a depressed city, with a lot of people living in the lower income brackets. So what that does is that pushes down the amount of money that you're going to be getting from the state, because their incomes are lower and will be receiving lower money from the state. So we also have to project out in the future what this budget, what this means when we're negotiating contracts. You know, are we going to be able to afford something, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road? Those are things that have to be taken into consideration. The next thing I want to talk about is, and this is, it's sad, but I think that we need to bring it up and that we need to do something about it, is that in Indianapolis last week, the parents weren't home, but there was a 6-year-old boy that was at home, and he found the unlocked pistol, and he wound up shooting himself, and he died from the gunshot. And what I'm going to do is check with the police department, because I believe, well, being on the gun committee also, the gun violence committee, the doctor and I, is to talk to the police department to see if they provide gun locks, to the community. And if they don't, that we do it. And if we have to fund it, then we'll fund it to have something like that put in place. That's such a sad thing that happened. And I'm sure that the situation exists somewhere in Michigan City, but I just don't want to hear about it. If there's something that we can do about it. And the next two things aren't life shaking, but I know that there were parents here last council meeting. They were talking about there's nothing for kids to do in Michigan City, what have you. All right, so take example, wintertime, Michigan City. Well, now we're getting the snow a little earlier this year, and I'm an outdoors kind of guy, but there's no ice skating rink for kids to go ice skating if they want to ice skate. LaPorte, they have an ice skating rink. It's not huge, but it's out there at Fox Park. So you have that and the sledding hill. There's a sledding hill at the police station that was constructed over there when they built the new police station. So I just want to get that out, and I'm going to talk to City Hall tomorrow and see if they can get that on their website. So if people want to go out and enjoy the afternoon with their kids, there's somewhere to go besides sitting around, there's nothing to do. I remember when I was a kid, there was always ice skating, always sledding. But, back then you made your own fun too. You didn't have to have fun provided for you. Because we used to go sledding down the neighbor's alley, and we thought that was the highest hill in the neighborhood. And it was probably only 15 feet high. But, we went far enough, so we had a good time. As long as you didn't run out on Wabash Street and get hit by a car, you were in good shape. So, all right. Thank you very much.
Councilman Dabney, did you have?
Oh, no, didn't.
Councilwoman?
I would just like to respond to Councilman Przybylski. The police department does have gun locks that they do pass out at different events, and they're free to the public.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, that leaves me with my last comment. I just wanted to share some information. It was brought to my attention that someone who happened to go to the South Shore, our new South Shore, for the double tracks, and they went into the venue to see it, and they happened to notice going to the restrooms that one of the restrooms was locked. The other one seems to have had clothing and things of that nature. Possibly someone that could have been homeless or was on the run, and just they left their things and they didn't know or wasn't aware of who they can contact. So I looked further into that and gathered some information. So the South Shore has a transit police. Not Michigan City, not MCPD, but they have their own transit police for if there's anything that you see. And they also have on here, they're saying your safety is our top priority. The South Shore CSAP, it's called CSAY app, makes it easy to report any potential issues with services, maintenance, or safety, all in real time. Whether you notice something that doesn't seem right or just want to share a concern, your report helps us keep everyone safe. You can download the app. It is, if you're all ready, mysouthshoreline.com/safety #safe travel #South Shoreline. But it's called South Shore SEE, say. Get it? See? Say something about it. So I just wanted to share that so you can Google that to get some additional information on that or to download that app. So that's all I have, and I will gladly entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you and have a good evening.